Hello, YouTube. If you are watching this VOD and you don't want to hear us talk about the thing before or watch Soulstone Survivors, that's the name of the game, jump ahead by 38 minutes. And that's when the thing is going to start. Otherwise, do whatever you want. People hate Wild's Lance and open beta test. It just didn't feel good to me. I've had people say that it felt good. You could actually land the counter. And like, I don't think I'm bad at the game, but like the counter was really hard to land. Not even just timing, just like the inputs required to get there. Like my thumbnail, thank you. I guess we'll start someone else. Got some new characters. I don't know who though. We've got the gunner. He probably needs to be maxed out. Definitely. So somebody killed the bear with just the mini-map visible and the entire screen black with Lance? Okay. That's impressive. I mean, that's a thing that they did. Okay, these are new unlocks. Do we want the bomb launcher? We can't get the bomb launcher. Volcannon looks okay. We just lose armor power? Can I upgrade it? He's already got things. Alright, hold on. What did I put on him? 25 levels. Uncommon, you only get 2. That's kind of okay. Oh, he has sentries. But does he? Does he even have sentries on this? Yes. Okay. I will do like a real level. We'll do the Christmas level. Hold on. I don't think I'm using the right gun. That looks like the normal gun. He's not really auto-aiming. That's kind of weird. Huh. Normally there's auto-aim. Hold on. Is he not doing it? The woman that does the OST for this game is incredibly talented. Weakening Shock. Okay. Do I want that? Games will pick up on Steam Winter Sale. You know, I just genuinely have more video games to play than I do time. Soulstone Survivors, you got it exactly right. You got it in one. Nuzcraft alone, good morning. Or good afternoon, I don't know. Power generator, that was the other one we wanted. This is one of the better Vampire Survivor likes. Other ones I like Bone Razor Minions. I like... Rotato is my favorite. But this comes from a very talented and very dedicated indie studio. I forget out of what country. Power Conductor looks great. Ready for the news? Buckle up, buddy. We're going to get magnetic, and then we're going to block magnetic. We're going to get expansive, and then we're going to block expansive. Shortly to go to sleep? Oh no, ProCam. Actually, no, I lied. I'm going to grab that one. We're taking damage. Okay. That's really good. We're actually going to lock Resilient because we've got negative armor. This might actually put our health back to normally. Fire Cannon, hello, good morning. Are you at work yet? You got Path of Exile too? Do you have a computer good enough to run it? I thought you had a potato. No offense to your potato, of course. PS5? I don't think it's out yet. Is it out on PS5? Ben, hello. Good morning. It is, really? Real time? Oh. Well, good for you, man. Happy for you. What are you playing? Okay, we're banishing this now. Got it. What are you getting for your birthday tomorrow? Moodang or Moo adjacent? I'm gonna travel. Make your #1 watch stream next year? Hell yeah. Alright, hold on a second. We want this. You want both of these. Alright, I'm gonna grab that. It's a little bit of an anti-synergy when you pick the uncommon skill to be paired with legendary skill, but I still think it's worth it overall. Hope I enjoy the beach. I'm just thinking about getting a new headquarters set up. 3 Moodings in a trench coat. She's probably getting pretty big, Pro Cow. I don't even want to say it. I know she'll always be a pygmy hippo. Area modifier. I want both of these. Make sure I use sunblock. I mean, I'm not actually going to hang out at the beach during the day. As bizarre as that sounds. In the afternoon, I'll go. Like around 4, maybe. It's just more like, I'm not sure if I want to hang out in the city the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, I like Bangkok. I really do. I really like it, but I think it might be nicer to be near a beach. It's the same price. Condo is the same price. 4 is the hottest time of day. The UV protection goes down to 0 at 4 p.m. At least around here. I move out of the U.S. I mean, not permanently. I still have my house. But I said something pretty funny, but also a little fucked up to Jen last night. She's like, "What do you want me to do when people say, like, why isn't he here for Christmas?" And I said, "I want you to pack a hand mirror, and when they ask that question, just hold the mirror up to their face." Just so they're staring into the mirror. It's just different. You know, it used to be, it would be her family, and it would be like the immediate family. You know what I mean? But now it's like the immediate family, their children, everyone's cousins. It's too much, man. It's too much. I don't want to be around it. I know I am like Howard Hughes adjacent. But, like, that doesn't bother me. Like, I'm okay with that. That is genuinely fine by me. They will get a demo? They might talk about the demo. They might mention it. You know, I mean, my all-in costs every month to be out here is under $1,000. Which, if, like, that's the price you have to put on your health so you don't get another debilitating illness, I'd say that's a fucking bargain. I'd say that's cheap as hell. Although I did get a little treat today. I got some Korean fried chicken. It was delicious. Thailand's been treating me well. Better than not. The only downside is the place I'm staying, Kamuka. There's a little bit of street noise gets in during the day, and that can be annoying if I don't have headphones on. But that was my mistake. I accept responsibility for that. I'm not like casting curses on the people like outside on their scooters. That's what, you know, you're in the city. You know, if I were in New York City, it would be even worse. It'd be outright hell. Presumably. I mean, I've gotten a little used to it, but like I said, I don't need, I could be anywhere. I think, like I said, I'm gonna go, it was like $50 to get a place for 2 days, and like on the beach. So I was like, I'll just go to the beach, we'll check it out, and if we like it, we'll get a condo there. But everything else is great. The food is great. The people are great. Condo or penthouse? I don't have a penthouse. I might get a penthouse, but I don't have one right now. Yeah, I mean, I've got a noise machine. I've got a fan. I've got an air conditioner. You know, I've got a bunch of things. But yeah, I'm in the country too, man. I'm just not used to it. I'm not used to there being noise that I can hear. This is terrible. I'm sorry. The poor Americans waking up on the West Coast, having this up on their tablet, they're just going blind. What do I look like in 4K? You gotta hold up your phone to the screen and it'll look better. I don't even know if it's worth putting up damage into weakening shots. Oh, am I in 8-bit right now? I'm celebrating the what is it, the 30-year anniversary of PlayStation? We're almost done. Finish that. Definitely. Thank you, Sakuma. How are we doing? How's our time doing? 8:36. We can do one more. Now these start to go really fast. It's gonna get worse. Because, like, we're giga-scaling compared to the Cathedral. YouTube should be holding onto the bitrate. I think I boosted the bitrate recently. Since I've been in Thailand, unlucky. I mean, it's AV1, and it's, I think it's, you know, let's just take a look. What is this game? This game is called Soulstone Survivors. Click that. 12 megabits. In the US, it's normally 10. I could probably go higher than 12, actually. 6 minutes? Thank you. But this is going to be the countdown, right? GGPG, hello. What's happening? We're waiting. What the fuck? Can't see shit. We are winning. Thank you, Twitch. It's gonna be 2025, and we're still limited to 7,000 kilobits a second. The effect opacity down? I like it like this. Oh, I got hit. You don't want to get hit. I'm just gonna banish Leviathan. So I'm pretty sure in this game your crits can crit. Like if you go over 100% crit, you could roll crits twice. Which goes kind of crazy. I'm banishing this too. I played a little bit of Path of Exile today. This is worse than Isaac. You can't see nothing. This is what happens. I was going to play Isaac, but I was like, ProCow doesn't want to see that, so I'll stream this game instead. You did this to yourself, man. You not see the Medusa lady? There's two of them. There's a bunch of them. Just with Isaac, I didn't want to be like mid-run. This game, like, I don't care if I can't like quit out. It's not a big deal. Isaac, it would be annoying. I don't even know what my build does. I'm just taking skills. I'm trying to pick the good skills. That's all I could really do. When those things go off, the spinny things. Is this better or worse than Bloons Tower Defense 6? Y'all hear that music? That music's great. Oh, we won. Barry is begging for death. Dude, we're almost level 100. That's pretty good. For 60 seconds? You just tell me. I'm assuming all we're going to get in 60 seconds is they're just going to be running trailers. It's not going to start immediately. Alright, so first they're going to give us that weird YouTube countdown. Power conductor, power generator. Which one's better? Oh, conductor by far. Oh my god, conductor's insane. They said 9 for the actual thing. Wait, I thought it was an hour. Wait, what? Oh, you mean 9. It's going to start at 9. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Does Mechatron even deal damage? No. I'm just going to disable it. Does nothing. It has no synergy. Megatron. So every character in the game has a unique ability now. Didn't used to be a thing. Some of them are actually very good. Mechatron does not seem good. But some things just get flat out. Yeah, I'm just gonna banish that. Take damage. It's in the community update in less than a minute. It's in 16 minutes. You guys are tweaking, man. You guys are tweaking out. You want me to put it up in a little corner? Here, let me see if I can find out. Put it up in a little corner. Where is it? There we go. It literally just is a timer counting down for 15 minutes. You guys are ravenous. I should probably mute it so we don't get audio dissonance. Have the screen tweaking out as long as the audio's tweaking out as well. Game is this? This game is Soulstone Survivors. We're literally just wasting time in it while we wait for the stream. Banish that. I think Power Conductor is good enough to say. Probably want to start re-rolling our greens though. We've got re-rolls. We've got so many. What time is it for me? It's gonna be 9 p.m. It's gonna be late for me. Dude, look how big. Remember the little laser in the beginning? Look how big it is now. It takes up the whole screen. I feel like Vegeta. It looks like Vegeta. I'm just like final flashing the whole screen. Stuck at home with a Bovid? I am sorry to hear that. Be careful if you're on the West Coast. California just said there's new bird flu. New pandemic dropped. You know, we're actually feeling kind of tanky. We cleared it. Amazing. We can go down another one. It's only going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Every time we go down, we get stronger. See? Do you see it? Do you see the big shot? This is my favorite song in the whole game. Oh, it changed. Our damage is good enough that I feel okay getting a little tankier. The thing is we're at the point now I can't really see anything. Demo announcement today. I mean, I feel like we might get one. But it wouldn't be right after the stream, would it? I feel like they would announce it for like a couple days, like Monday or Sunday night or something like that. I was spinning for the update. I mean, I would like another demo. You think they'll do the timed exclusive thing for PSN again? Can you turn down the effects on this? It's not as fun though. You know what I mean? It just feels like I'm vaguely tickling everything with farts. So I'm gonna go back up all the way. Turn it back. It's back. Dude, we're still doing so much damage. So strong. I mean, just by getting levels, the amount of things that appear on screen go up. How's YouTube doing with this? It's a little crunchy, but not. You can still kind of figure it out though, right? Hit her low. I'm gonna keep going down. New trailer? In 8 minutes. There are bosses here. It's actually really dangerous. They're getting pretty strong. I mean, we are essentially instantly summoning the the bosses. Just instantly. Wall Street Panda, are you depressed because the market is going down? Presumably you wouldn't care. Because you're a long-term investor. We're still doing fine. Average anime enjoyer, hello. Title of this game, Soulstone Survivors. Boss is showing up again? I think they are. If I can, I like to take out the Medusa-looking lady first. She's the one with the hardest abilities to dodge, I feel like. She gives a big circle around her. What's wrong? What's wrong with your eyes? Does there seem to be an issue? You can turn down the visual effects to Voids if epilepsy is a genuine concern, and it probably is. Then you just have to avoid the red circles, but it's not nearly as fun. What do you think it's like being the last boss as suddenly all of my abilities just converge on him? Let's keep going. How much time do we have? Oh, we can't finish this in time. Boo! I'm actually genuinely disappointed. I wanted to keep that up forever. It almost looks like I'm morphing into Maldi. I don't know how I feel about that. I am 8-bit. No, but really, I am 8-bit. All right. It's getting nice to see everybody sitting around a table again. What I get for dinner? I had a very big lunch of Korean fried chicken. I mean, I made a big mistake. Because I ordered it, and it came with, like, an 8-piece of fried chicken, and it came with, like, a little rice bowl with chicken on it. And I ate the 8-piece to start, and I'm like, I wonder what the rice bowl tastes like. Intending to keep it for dinner. Yeah, I ate it all. What makes it Korean? It's the style? You never had Korean fried chicken before? It was great, man. Ever play pickleball? Nope. It's like crunchier. I feel like the Korean fried chicken, they do a better job at crisping it up. You put sauce on it, it's still crunchy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monster Hunter Wilds pre-launch community update. My name's Jono, EME Community Manager on Monster Hunter.
Hey everybody, I'm Joe. I'm the Capcom USA Community Manager on Monster Hunter.
And welcome to our broadcast, which, for the very first time, will be bilingual in English and Japanese, which is a brand new concept for us.
That's
so
cool.
We hope you enjoy it. And you'll probably not be surprised to find out why we're having it in English and Japanese, because as you can see, we have two very special guests with us. We have Monster Hunter Wilds director Yuya Tokuda, as well as Patrick from Capcom Europe, who will be translating for us.
That's great, man.
It's great to have you guys. Thank you so much for coming. Now, Joe, we've introduced our esteemed guests. We've said hello, but why are we here today?
Yeah, today is a really special stream. Again, we have some special guests here joining us, and we would like to share a sincere thank you to everybody out there who participated in the open beta test that we held at the end of October. And today we're going to be spending some time talking about how a lot of the feedback from that open beta has influenced the development of the main game. So
are they going to show hit stop?
Just to kind of recap, the open beta was held with a couple of goals. The first, I think the most obvious one is we were able to give everybody a chance to play the game.
They might show it.
Experience, new game. And it was great seeing everybody's responses. But the second part of that was really to test the different technology that's in the game, things like network load and game operation. So it was really great to see everybody's feedback and responses. But the team has really been working on the full game separately and making a lot of improvements and adjustments. And again, we just want to share thanks to everybody for sharing your feedback either through social media, our official survey, or through different places online. And while a lot of that feedback covered some known issues and things that we originally already planned to address in the final version of the game, a lot of the feedback actually covered some bugs and things that the team was not aware of or didn't intend to fix. So it was extremely helpful.
Maybe the
and some
VRAM
of those fixes
thing?
and adjustments are now prioritized for the final game, thanks to your feedback. And we're going to talk about a lot of that today. Jono, we actually had a round of previews go live recently, right? And that actually had some details that we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the community response to that was fantastic. So if you have seen the previews, you will recognize some of the content in today's broadcast, but there is so much more. And on top of that as well, this stream is an opportunity for the development team to speak directly to you, to introduce
This is
even
amazing.
more and clarify what you
I don't
may
think
have
we've
seen
ever had
in
this
the
before.
previews as well.
Like
But
ever.
Please do keep in mind
From
that
Capcom.
this isn't fully comprehensive.
Maybe with Street
There's
Fighter.
even more adjustments to the final game beyond what you will see here today. And what is shown may not necessarily be final and is, of course, always subject to change. Now,
I thought
obviously,
performance was
now
fine on
we've covered
PS5.
that,
No?
Let's talk about our guests, obviously.
Better than
Obviously, having
PC
a
with like
director
8 gigs of
Yuya Takeda
VRAM.
is so much fun. And Patrick will be doing the Japanese to English, so you'll be hearing a lot of them both. So, Tokura-san, what would you like to say to everyone before we get stuck in?
はい、最初に所さんから自己紹介やコメントをお願いします。
はい、モンスターハンターワイルドディレクターの徳田優也です、今日はこのような場を設けていただきありがとうございます。僕はモンスターハンター G から20年間、モンスターハンターを作り続けております。今日はよろしくお願いします。
Hello everyone, I'm Yuya Tokura, the director of Monster Hunter Wilds. It's really nice to be here with you guys today. It's a good opportunity to speak to you directly. I've been working on the Monster Hunter series for 20 years now, ever since
Juzu, thank you.
Monster Hunter G times. So yeah, good to get a chance to talk to you and let's have fun.
Amazing, yeah. But the open beta test was honestly, it was the response was overwhelming. We saw just a huge variety of responses and feedback, and just people enjoying it, and also sharing, what they thought of it in a constructive way. So, Takota-san, could you talk a little bit about what your initial impressions were, seeing all the different reactions to the beta?
オープンベータテストの、ユーザーの反応への
So Game City
反応
Direct?
について教えてもらえますでしょうか。
World for
はい、
sure.
まず本当にたくさんの方にご参加いただき、
I don't know if he
ありが
directed
とうございました。クロスプレイ、のマッチングサーバ
I don't think he
ー
did.
にもし問題があった
I think
場
that
合
was still
に、
Konami.
修正期間を取るために、モンスター
But he was heavily involved in
ベータ
for you.
テストよりも1ヶ月早く、開催したんですけれども、おかげさまで大きなサーバートラブルもなくテストを終えることができました。
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, to all the many players around the world who took part in the beta. It was a very useful experience for us. You may have realized that the timeline was even earlier on this beta than the one we had from Monster Hunter World
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah,
It
very
was about
early.
a month earlier before launch. The reason we had this one earlier was because of the addition of crossplay to Monster Hunter Wilds. That new
Dude, crossplay
system meant that
worked
we really wanted
with
to make sure we had
zero
enough time to
issues.
fix any issues that might have arisen with crossplay and matchmaking on the
I never had a
servers, and
single problem with
but
matchmaking or
fortunately, we were able to
crossplay.
get through
Did you
the open
guys?
beta test without any significant hitches in that area.
また皆さんの、楽しかっただったりだとか、もっとこうだったらよかったなみたいな、声を糧にしてですね、チーム全体がモチベーションを上げて、制作や改善に取り組むことができました。
Game was broke the
Of course,
first
it
day. If
wasn't
you,
just
on
about
PC, there were
technical,
issues.
Confirmation. It was also great to just see everyone's feedback, hearing all the players say how fun it was to play the game. And of course, your wishes and requests for things that you weren't.
Private lobbies were hard to
about,
figure
was
out,
also
yeah.
Valuable feedback, and it's been great motivation for us to just finish the full game and make it even better. So thank you again for that.
Yeah, it really was a fantastic opportunity for everyone and for us to get some great learnings and observations too. And obviously, we've mentioned the open beta and what you thought about that. What were your thoughts, Takura-san, on the recently published previews and interviews we'd seen from press from around the globe?
Voice chat was
はい、
bad.
先日メディ
I
アの
thought it was
プレビュ
okay.
ーも公開されたと
Coco,
思
hello
うん
and
で
thank
すけど
you.
徳田さんは確認されてますか？いかがでしたでしょうか？
はい、まず世界中からですね、初心者からベテランさんまで、すごく幅広い層の、ライターさんが、大阪に来てくださって、OBT からの改善点はもちろんですけど、ゲーム作品としてそもそもどうなのかだったりだとか、
When voice chat is
部分についてです
easy,
ね
especially
とても
with
楽しんで
crossplay, it's a lot
ポ
more
ジティブなレビュ
fun.
ーをたくさんくださったので、まずとても嬉しかったです。
Yeah, that was a really great experience. We had journalists from all over the world come and join us in Osaka, and it was a real range of people in terms of Monster Hunter play experience. Some of them were veteran hunters like yourselves, some of them were more on the beginner side, and getting to see their positive preview impressions was really exciting for me, because not just in terms of getting the news out there about improvements that have been made since the open beta test in the version they played, but their take on the game as a whole. That was something that it was really fun for me to see, especially because it was very positive.
もうこれだけできてるんだったら、もう大阪から帰りたくないみたいなことを言うメデ
I
ィア
was
の
not
方もいらっしゃいま
invited.
した。
I'm not a
興
part
味
of
ある方はぜひ記事とか動画とかも
a game
チェックしてみ
review
てくだ
site.
さい。
Some of them were having so much fun and they said the game felt so finished already. They just didn't want to leave Osaka. They wanted to stay there and keep playing it for a long time. But unfortunately, we had to release them.
I feel like
from the
that's a
office. But
shrinking
yeah, if
category
anyone
of
hasn't checked out
like
those preview impressions already, I encourage you to
IGN
take a
likes.
look
There used to be a
because,
lot of them,
They were really great to see.
but now it's just like
はい、で
individual
はそれで
guys
は
like
ここか
that
らは
guy on
ジョージョの
YouTube.
から、説明があった通り、製品版で調整される内容と、OBT から変更される内容について、ユーザーの皆様にお知らせしたいと思います。
So yeah, as you guys, Joe and Jono, both mentioned earlier, today is a chance for me to talk directly to the community about some
Gator, thank
adjustments
you.
that me and the team are making to the
Well,
game
5
based
subs,
on
thank you.
all the valuable feedback we got from you players about the open beta test.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it. I think we have a lot to cover today. So let's start with our first topic. Our first topic is performance. So during the open beta test, which was actually running on an earlier version of the game, that's
I
different
hope they
from
show
the
it.
internal
Please
version
show
that the
it.
team is working on. We actually mentioned that
Show the papercraft.
the final release will have improved performance over the open beta test.
Please.
So, Takuda-san, could you walk us through how the team is improving performance with the full version?
We could giggle at it.
はい、最初に製品版で目標にしているパフォーマンスについて教えてもらえると思いますのでお願いします。
はい、まず実物を見ていただくのが一番分かりやすいと思いますので、まだ最終バージョンではないんですけれども、プレイステーション5でフレームレート優先モードでのプレイ映像をお持ちしたので、ご覧ください。
Yeah, we've got some slides with some details coming up, but I think first of all, I really
Yes.
want you guys to just get your eyes on a
Yes.
gameplay video to understand where the performance is at.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I've prepared a video that's
Please.
running on PlayStation 5 in prioritized
Kamikuzo?
performance mode. It's not the final version of the game, but it's a more up-to-date version than the one you would have played in the OBT. So let's take a look at that now.
To me, for console, this honestly looks fine. Like, I wouldn't complain about this. Right?
はい、このように、OBT の時よりも、綺麗な
Oh,
グラ
wow.
フィックで、60フレーム
Real?
近くでプレイできる
What?
状態になっています。
Yeah, hopefully that gave you an impression of how much better the game is looking already since the OBT. It's running at almost the target of 60 frames per second, so it's looking great, I think.
はい、改めまして目標としているスペックですけれども、PS5 の解像度優先モードでは、4K30fps で安定してプレイできることをターゲットにしています。
I couldn't even
So
tell a
as
difference
per the
between
slide
those
we have
two.
here, just to talk you through the target numbers that we have. On the PlayStation 5 in the prioritized graphics mode, we're running a rendered output of 4K with a targeted frame rate of 30 frames a second.
フレームレート優先モードでは、レンダリング
God,
解
why
像
would
度
you
は
cut
異
your
なります
frame rate in
が
half like that?
60fps で、遊べるようにターゲットしています。
And for prioritized frame rate, that brings the rendering resolution down as you can see, but then the target frame rate gets to 60 frames a second.
OBT では目標のフレームレートに出ていなかった上にですね、フレームレート優先モードでは描画の不具合がありまして、髪の毛とか、羽毛のような表示の時に、ジャギーのようなものが発生するようになってまして、ちょっと綺麗じゃない状態になっておりました。先ほどご覧いただきましたように製品版の方ではフレームレート含めて改善していますので、ご安心ください。
So the target frame rate that we have here was not being
It'll be
achieved
okay,
in the
Porkchop.
OBT build. To be honest, it was an earlier version that wasn't quite as optimized. And there were also some rendering issues with the graphics when using frame priority mode, the prioritized frame rate. A lot of players reported seeing jagged edges on
Yes.
Elements such as hair and feathers, the more fine details. As you will have hopefully got an impression of in the video we just showed, this has been greatly improved in the full version, and the frame rate is also hitting close to that target of
Well, that's
60 frames
good.
a second.
That's great.
はい、あと、プレイステーション5 Pro エンハンスド対応については、製品版発売時の Day1 パッチにて、対応を予定してい
It's
ます。
going to get day one patch for PS5
プレイ
Pro.
ステーション5 Pro でのゲームプレイは、グラフィック表現がより強化、を予定しておりまして、詳細については今後の情報をお待ちください。
Also, just one thing to confirm is that PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced support is incoming. It'll be ready with the day one patch on release day of the title next year.
Can they even get it to
That's gonna enhance the
4K
graphics
locked?
for PlayStation 5 Pro users. So please stay tuned for more details on that as we get closer to launch.
Did you just buy a 4080 Ti Fire Cannon?
はい、Xbox シリーズ X と、シリーズ S につきましても、PlayStation 5版と同様な、パフォーマンス向上に取り組んでいます。
Moving on then to
Oh, the
Xbox, you
Series
can see here
S.
that on the Xbox Series X and Series S,
You're
we're
memeing?
aiming at similar improvements over the OBT.
There's gonna be,
compared to what
new
was
graphics
described
cards
for
announced next
PlayStation
month.
5 as per the slide.
新版でもご利用の環境設定によって変動はありますけれども、パフォーマンスの向
Dude,
上
at
につい
least
て、
Series
同様に
S
取り組んでおりまし
exists.
て、OBT と同じスペックの機材であっても着実にフレームレートなど、向上しています。
You can get one for like
Games, of course, a bit
$200.
more complicated. It varies greatly depending on your own personal rig, your hardware, and the settings you have set up. But we are working on improving the performance of that too. And the frame rate and other performance you can expect from the same equipment you might have used in the OBT will be improved for the full version of the game. So please wait a little longer to get a chance to experience that.
あとこれは本当におとつ
Did
い
he just confirm another
最新の
beta?
情報なんですけれども、推奨スペックとしてご案内しているグラフィックボードについてももう少し下げられる、可能性が、出てきております。正確な情報が、固まり次第公式サイトなどで、アナウンスさせていただきます。
This is actually something that I've literally just confirmed with the team yesterday or the day before, so it's very hot off the press news, but we're looking at hopefully lowering the level of the minimum recommended graphics board specs to allow more players with that level of hardware to play the game. The final details are still being worked on, so I can't share more today, but again, stay tuned to
Official
our
origami mode?
channels on our website, and we'll hopefully get more details about that out soon.
Dude, if they can get it on the
That is
Steam
really,
Deck,
really
that'll
cool.
go
You know,
crazy.
I mean, Joe and I can both attest that following the OBT, performance was an important topic for the community across all platforms. So it's really, really cool to be able to share the performance and visual improvements
be
for
huge.
all versions and platforms of the game across the board. So thank you for that, Guda-san. One little question though, because we did see some members of the community, particularly on PC,
Could be
concerned
Switch
whether
2
or not
prep.
they had a powerful enough hardware or rig to run the game on PC. Especially seeing, out there's such a wide range of hardware amongst the gaming community. So is there anything the team are thinking of? or
Honestly,
looking at
Steam Deck
doing
was
to help
close.
players
I
on PC
saw
determine
footage
if
of it
their
going
rig
at
will
15
run on
FPS,
Hunter WoW?
which is obviously
Steam user は
not playable.
それぞれのプレイヤーが様々
But
な
it's better than you'd
環境で遊んでい
expect.
ると思いますけれども、発売前に自分の環境で、期待できるパフォーマンスを
やっぱ
確認したいユーザーがたくさんいると思うんですけど、何
Dude,
か
I'm
しら
pretty sure I
対策
saw
を考えたりし
15.
ますでしょうか。
はい、さまざまな改善とか最適化が進んでいる中でですね、その製品版の環境でご自身の機材がどのように機能するかというのは、発売前に知りたいというのは、非常によく、分かっております。現在そうした方に向けてベンチマークとご用意できないか、検
15
討
was
しています。
totally playable.
できるできないや、
Okay,
できな
let's
ど
not-
決定しましたら、
Let's not
また
get
お
too
知らせいた
excited.
します。
Yeah, I totally understand the PC players on Steam really want to know before launch if their rig is going to be giving them the performance that they want. While we are, as I said, working to improve the performance greatly before launch, we're considering as well releasing a benchmark tool for Steam players, and that'll let you more directly check how your PC hardware is going to
Okay.
run the game. So
So it sounds like we're not going to get
that's
another
something
open
that's-
beta,
that's
but a
still in the
benchmark
works
tool.
at the
That's
minute, and,
better than
if that
nothing, I
becomes
guess.
finalized, again, we'll release further details on that in due course. So stay tuned.
All right, yeah. So we'll await any further details on a potential benchmark tool. And overall, those were some really great updates on performance. But let's go ahead and transition to some of the gameplay specific adjustments to either weapon actions and the overall hunting experience. And I think both Jono and I know that one of the biggest topics and concerns from the community were changes to hit stop and the overall
Yes.
impact of weapons. And this was really
Yes.
something that we saw quite a bit of feedback on, looking for a little bit more punch to the different weapons. In our recent round of previews, we actually did confirm that there were some improvements made to this area. So, Takuda-san, can you detail what these tweaks are?
はい、パフォーマンスに続けて武器の調整についてですけれども、多くのユーザーから、もう少しパンチが欲しい、手応えを感じたいっていうフィードバックが寄せられていると思うんですけど、これに対してチームの方で 予定している調整などについて教えてもらえますでしょうか。
Is hit stop called
はい、
punchy?
オープンベータテストでは、いわゆるヒットストップや、サウンドエフェクトが過去作に比べて弱いというご意見いただいております。これらについて OBT では一部対応が漏れていたものもあったんですけど、製品版では、多くの武器
They're bringing back
決
shockproof.
め技を中心に、攻撃の手応えをより感じていただけるような調整をしております。
Yeah, this is, what people refer to as hit stop. It's something that we were aware of with the OBT build. There were certain things we'd already taken care of, actually, and certain things that hadn't yet been done. So when it comes to making those weapons feel more weighty and impactful in terms of hit stop and sound effects, we are planning to make further adjustments in the full version of the game in that area.
Oh wow, that's great.
一つの例として、調整後の
Carving has been disabled.
ため切りの動画をお持ちしま
Carving
した
hits
の
have been
で
disabled
ご覧くだ
since
さい。
World, Elitius.
I've got a video here that we can show in a second, which shows you the true charged slash of the greatsword, and that's how it looks after these adjustments have been made to make these big moves and finishers feel more meaty. So
Please.
let's show the video, please, and see how that looks.
Please. Okay, it's a little bit better on the strong. Okay, that's pretty good. Interesting how the draw slash basically had no hit
は
stop.
い、体験実は新ため切りダメージ
Strong charge had better
量を
hit
増や
stop
して
as
ます
well.
ダメージの限らずですけど、このヒットエフェクトだったりだとか、ヒットストップについてももろもろ調整を行っていますし、サウンドですね、音についても調整してますので、トータルでヒット感は、向上しています。
The draw
that
slash
move
just
that
went
we
right
saw,
through.
the,
It
true
didn't
charge
stop
slash
at
has
all.
also actually had its damage output increased, but even for moves where I haven't changed the damage output, I've heard you guys on things like hit stop, on sound effects, how the moves feel to actually use. So those kind of adjustments are being made not just on the greatsword. I use it as an example here because it's kind of easy to understand, but across the board on all weapon types.
That's great.
はい、ヒットストッ
That's really
プ
great.
に関してはですね、モンスターハンターワールドをリリースした当初には、海外のユーザーを中心に、ヒットストップが強すぎるとか、重すぎるみたいなご意見をすごくいただいたんですけれども、今回モンスターハンターワイルズのオープンベータですと逆に弱いというご意見もたくさんいただきまして、モンスターハンターの持ち味であるこの、重みのあるアクションという感覚が世界中の方に受け入れられ始めているんだなということも感じまして、
Loud minority?
感慨深くもありました。
It was
Are you saying you like hit
interesting,
stop
actually,
or
for
you
me to
don't
receive
like
this
it?
feedback on the beta. I'm thinking back to
It's been in the
Monster
game
Hunter
from the
World, which
very
I also worked
beginning.
on, and back then, there was a lot of player feedback, especially outside Japan, where players felt that the game was actually too weighty, that the animations were too slow, and that's completely the opposite of what we heard this time, where people were saying the Wilds OPT, everything felt a bit too light and floaty and weaker. So I'm taking that as a positive, where I feel like in the years between Monster Hunter World coming out and Monster Hunter Wilds OBT, players around the world have gotten used to that meaty, weighty hit stop action. That is
Dude,
kind of one of the hallmarks.
He's
of Monster Hunter.
saying
So
skill
knowing that they've
issue
accepted that and
to
they
everyone
wanted
that got
that
fucked
based
up
on
by
the
hit
OBT is
stop.
actually something that I think is really interesting, and also it's really
That is what he
nice
is
to hear.
saying. He's saying it without
That's
saying
really,
it.
really cool. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing those meaty chops and big bonks
That's so funny.
come February. And obviously, you know, we've spoken about
The
how,
worldlets don't
weapon
understand.
interactions with monsters have been adjusted, but we're also looking at friendly fire and how that works, right? I understand that this was actually something as well that the team were looking into and considering before the open beta test went live.
はい、フレンドリーファイアの機能について、確かにオープンベータテスト、配信前からも検討されていたと聞いてるんですけど、こちらは OBT を受けてどのような調整を
I
予
just
定
don't
して
play
いるのでしょうか。
multiplayer enough to have any strong opinion either way on
ゲームスポーンや
this.
TGS の、CU ロムでは、ガラランスの流撃砲などによって、仲間が吹っ飛ばされる、いわゆるフレンドリーファイヤーがありましたけれども、OBT のタイミングでは多くの武器でそれらを緩和しました。
Yeah, this is something that, as you said, before even the OBT came out, we had our first playable globally at Gamescom earlier in the year. Then we had Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, it's like certain
And,
weapons have to have a
the
flinch-free
adjustments
tax.
that we started to make for friendly fire were already present in those builds. So, for example, the Wyvern Fire of the Gunlance is something that we'd already toned down the effect even before the OBT started.
Giving the shockproof jewel is probably the best solution to it in general, because if you're willing to play around friendly fire, then you get the extra slot.
That
But if
said,
it really
as
bothers
a lot
you,
of
you just
players
throw
will
it
have noticed
on.
in the OBT, there were some friendly fire things that we hadn't handled yet. So upswing attacks on the hammer in particular, I think were causing a lot of people to be thrown around the place, and that's something that
But that's a
we're
good
looking
thing.
to get into the
Because you can
better
attack
place
from
and
the
fix
air.
it up for the final game.
またサンブレイクの方で実装されました、ダメージリアクションを無効化するこの干渉樹、といった、装飾品も実装予定です。
And just to mention as well, something that wouldn't have applied during the OBT, but the shockproof jewel, which you might remember from.
That's a good question. Does
recently
shockproof
Monster
protect
Hunter
from
Rise Sunbreak,
cluster?
is going to be in the full game, and that will further help you nullify those damage reactions.
の調整後のハンマーの勝ち上げの動画も持ってきましたので、ご覧くださ
It's
い。
not going away. It's still there. It's
I've
just
got another
reduced
video
turn up, and then
today,
shockproof will
so,
help
if
even
you can
more.
please show that, then
You
we
just
should
not
get
use it.
An idea of how the hammer upswing looks after these adjustments have been made. So let's take a look.
Oh, okay. They're going to show us. I mean, you still eat shit, so that's okay. That's still, I think that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, the example is really great at kind of showing side by side just the changes that have been made there. So, I think, with Friendly Fire, this is one of those changes where, there's a lot of different players a lot of different types of players that it may impact. So, Takuda-san, can you talk a little bit more about the intention behind making this change?
フレンドリーファイアですとプレイヤーの意見も分かれる仕様だと思うんですけど、徳田さんの今回変更を入れた意図についてもう少し
I think
詳しく教
Shock
えてもらえます
does
でしょうか。
everything you would need,
はい
Fire Cannon.
フレンドリーファイアの軽減は残念なかに思っている方もいるトピックだと、こちらも認識しています。今回ですね、ガンランスの流撃砲の範囲を結構思い切って広げたんですけど、この範囲で、ぶっ飛ばしを残してしまうと、マルチプレイですごく大きな、支障になってしまいます。
Yeah, I know what you mean, because friendly fire is one of those features I think some players enjoy, the bit of the chaos, and they might find it disappointing to hear that it's being reduced, but it's all part of my overall balancing sort of approach. So to take the Gunlance Wyvern Fire as an example, the range of that attack has actually been greatly expanded with Monster Hunter Wilds, and that meant that just the sheer range at which friendly fire could occur was kind of becoming something of a hindrance to having an effective
Yeah.
multiplayer hunt.
Could you
こういう
imagine
行動はルールを
being
理
a
解している
lance
プレイヤ
surrounded
ー
by
同士な
three
ら
gun
楽しく
lances?
感じていただける要素にもなり得るんですけれども、クロスプレイだったり、救難信号によって、幅広いユーザーの方がマルチプレイする機会というのがすごく増えている中で、初心者のユーザーの方がルールがわからないままぶっ飛ばしてしまったりだとか、特にそういう要素があることによってマルチプレイを避けてしまうようなことを、避けたいと考えて、今回、こうした実装をしております。
I think that kind of scrappy, chaotic feel that you get from friendly fire is something that players who understand it and they know how to avoid it or when it's going to happen, those people can have an understanding with each other and enjoy that. But we've now got crossplay and we've got a wider range than ever of experience levels of hunters joining the game. And I
They're
wanted
saying
to
the
avoid a
wildlets.
scenario where
I got it.
This level of, extra range attacks causing friendly fire
I got
would
it.
mean that maybe less experienced players would end up knocking everyone around beyond the point where it's still fun, or they might get
The
knocked around
Xbox
and not
Series S
understand why it's happening and not find that enjoyable, and then they'd end up avoiding going online and playing multiplayer with other players. So it's really part of my intention to make sure that everyone can enjoy.
It works great,
multiplayer
Mark
together,
Lore. The
and that
crossplay
makes
is just
making a
perfect.
decision on how to adjust friendly
It's
fire.
not.
Yeah, that makes sense. I
Cumbersome
mean,
at
it's
all.
making it more approachable for new players and less frustrating for experienced players who are playing alongside these new players joining the community. And kind of moving on from that as well, something that actually Joe and I encountered ourselves and what we saw within the community and content creators was that during the open beta test, they felt that monsters move locations way more often than they expected. Was this intentional?
ジョノとジョーもご自身で遊んだ時に気づいた仕様なんですけれども、モンスターが割と頻繁にエリア移動する仕様になってたと思うんですけど、コミュニティのフィードバックもたくさんある仕様だったと思いますので、こちらについてはどれだけ意図的なものだったでしょうか。
はい、OBT ではですね、そのプログラム的な不具合とですね、調整不足の両方が重なりまして、モンスターのエリア移動が、頻繁に発生してい
No,
ま
I
した。
don't think so, ProCal. I don't think Elden Ring will have crossplay.
Yeah, the actual truth is that there was a bit of a bug or glitch in the open beta test build, which meant that monsters were moving between areas more frequently than we intended. So the behavior you guys noticed in the open beta test build isn't something that was finally fully adjusted to where we wanted it to be.
製品版では、モンスターハンターワールドに近いような
It was
移動頻度
clearly
になる
messed
よう
up.
に調整を入れてい
It
ま
felt
す。
like they were just trying to get them to show off the whole map.
So yeah, we've worked on that since the
Hey, Randy.
open beta test build was created, and the final version should be more close in feeling to Monster Hunter World in terms of how often you feel the monsters are moving around.
Got it. Yeah. So even though that the amount of frequency that a monster might move locations has been toned down a little bit, sometimes a monster moving locations significantly is kind of like a way of expressing its personality. So are there still some situations where a monster might move significantly?
それでも
He's hungry?
製品版ではエリア間の移動をする場合があると理解していいんですね。
もちろんモンスターがフィールドの中でどんどんこう移動していって、それを追い詰めていってハンティングするというのはモンスターハンターの、醍醐味の一つでもありますので、モンスターは移動していきます。
Yeah, that's right. It's one of the sort of key features of Monster Hunter is that you're chasing these monsters around these vast environments. So it's not like they're never going to move anywhere and you're just going to be stuck in one place to hunt them. You're still going to have that feeling of the chase where they move between different parts of the field as the hunt progresses.
またですね、特に生態系の上位に属するようなモンスター、その強いモンスターはですね、ベースキャンプから離れた場所、フィールドの奥深くに巣を構えていることが多くあります。今回はフィールドが、広大になっているということもありまして、いろんな緩和処理は入れてるんですけれども、それでも瀕死移動などの際に、大きく移動するということがあります。
Also, the maps are much bigger in this game than any previous Monster Hunter, and that means there's more turf to cover. And when it comes to things like the monsters who are at the top of the food chain in a particular map, their nests or their home turf within the map can be pretty deep into the area, and it can be some distance to cover. So if you get them to a weakened state and they're doing the thing where they limp back to their nest to try and recover, that's still going to be an occasion where you're going to have some ground to cover in order to chase them and find them again.
You got the secret,
そ
so
うした場合はですね、その狩りたいモンスターの生息域だったり移動ルートに合わせた場所に簡易キャンプを立てて、ファストトラベルなどを使って先
and
回り
fast
するような、
travel. I mean, with
使い方というのがす
Rathalos
ごく
flies
有
up
効
to
に
the
なり
top
ま
of the
す。
ancient forest. I mean, it's the same
I would
thing.
recommend when that happens in the full game that you can actually use the pop-up camp feature to its fullest. So if you're aware of where a particular monster's nest is going to be in the map, and if it's quite a distance from other areas, you can go ahead and sort of do a recce and scout it out and put a pop-up camp there in advance, so that when that monster starts to get weakened and try to return to its nest, you can fast travel to the pop-up camp and get there quickly.
Is that European
A little bit of
slang?
planning, a little
A
bit of prep,
recce?
and it will pay off in the hunt, which is always
What's a
handy.
recce?
And
Like a reconnaissance?
moving on, we've already covered a lot of juicy changes. We've been getting stuck straight in. So let's kind of move over to adjustments to something that's really important and helps really define a hunter's identity. in game,
agropods-
and that we're all very passionate about our weapons.
Feel like they
So we know
start
many
losing
people are really
effectiveness,
interested
fire
in this.
cannon.
Takura-san, in our recent previews, the team showed off some changes to the insect glaive. But that's not the only weapon. Multiple weapons have received adjustments, but a few in particular, like the aforementioned insect glaive, have received the most attention, right?
武器の調整についてですけれども、プレビューのインタビューなどで
That's interesting. Was there really that much comments about insect glaive in the West? I feel like that might be more Japan.
調整が入っているというふうに
Army
コメント
talk
いただいていると思うんですけど、こちらについてもう少し詳細に教えてもらえますでしょうか。
はい、
In the full game turn-up, you're supposed to lead monsters into packs, and then the packs will attack the monster.
製品版とかなり違いを感じられるような、武器種になっています。それらを中心
I think-
に調整内容をご紹介できればと思います。
Yeah, the Insect Glaive is one of several weapons, such as the Lance, the Switch Axe, and the Sword and Shield, which I think players will, if you've played the OBT version and then you play the full game, you're going to notice maybe the biggest differences and feel like we've made the most adjustments to those weapons in particular, although we have made adjustments to all the weapons. So I'd like to take the chance to go through a few of those details with you.
Yeah, the reliance and focus camera
装置
was
感については、ま
was
ずは
tough.
動画を見ていただければと思います。
So if we can run the video we've prepared. of the
I was
Insect
happy
Glaive,
with
let's take a
Insect
look at that
Glaive,
first.
other than maybe like the juice explosion being a little bit too much. Oh, come on. Reddit wins. This is what you wanted. Did they have charge levels before?
はい、このようにまず武闘跳躍が、追加されております。
That's right. Vaulting Dance is back.
You get offset
装
at
置痕に
descending
ついては
slash.
ゲームズコンや TGS の私有の段階で、特にこの総中根使いの方々から、
Oh, wow.
アイデンティティとも言えるような、武闘跳躍を、ないことについてですね、非常に残念がる声というのをたくさんいただ
Because
きま
I
し
don't
た
think it had an offset
では間
before.
に合わなかったんですけれども、製品版の方では、
Maybe they'll make it
追加
weaker
しておりま
to
す。
compensate.
So this is something I was actually aware of even before the feedback from the open beta test back at our Gamescom and Tokyo Game Show exhibitions of gameplay. We had our, Insect Glaive users, our Bug
Your
Rod
triple up
mains
is even stronger now.
complaining that the vaulting dance was missing, and it's one of the iconic moves of that particular weapon. So yeah, I'm happy to confirm that vaulting dance makes its return in the full version of Monster Hunter Wilds.
またですね、吸収切りの出始めのところに、相殺効果がついていたりだとか、エキスを取った時の、効果などが OBT から、追加で対応を行っていまして、これらによって、立ち回りの幅がすごく広がっています。
As you can see on the slide, we've got a few other adjustments being made. One of them is that the descending slash now has an offset effect added at the beginning of that move. And we also have additional effects happening with the different extracts that you have during the course of the action. So those are going to improve the
Yeah,
feel of the
Orange
Insect
was
Glaive too.
really nerfed.
はい。
So it's good that it does something now.
その吸収切りのための部分の、操作っていうのが、押しづらいというご意見も、すごく多くいただいておりました。
Offset is a counter, yeah.
One thing I wanted to cover additionally was that some players said that the controls for charging up the descending thrust were a little bit too difficult, or they felt tricky to operate in the heat of the hunt.
僕自身も押しづらいなと感じる部分もありましたので、何かできないか検討や相談っていうのを進めていたんですけれども、慣れてくるとですね、この貯めることによる遊びの広がりっていうのも確かにあるなというふうにも感じていることから、あとそれを回収するコストとももろもろ天秤にかけていった結果、今回はその試操作に関しては残すことに、しました。
I took that feedback on board, and I tried it out in the game myself, and I did somewhat agree that it could be tricky to pull that off right in the middle of things, but we always have to weigh up when we're going to make these kind of modifications to a weapon what the
I
implications
thought it was
are for its
fine.
playstyle as a whole. We have to balance the idea of changing that with how it might play the way it is. So after many discussions with the team, I actually decided to keep this one the way it is. I think that it is one of the trickier things to pull off, but it's sort of a bit of a rewarding bit of depth to the gameplay.
Yeah.
Of the Insect Glaive. If you can get used
I
to
agree.
that and learn when to use the charge, you can really deepen your play style. So
Nah,
that's something that we're not.
I agree
adjusting
with him
this time, although
100%.
We did hear your voices on that.
ですね、メディアプレビューツアーに、来られた、総中根
They could maybe shorten the charge time
触っていただいて、
in the air,
最
but
高
it
の
was
総中根
fine.
になってるじゃないかってすごく喜んで、くれましたので、ぜひ製品版の方、お待ちいただければと思います。
Yeah, there was actually one journalist who was in Osaka for our preview last month, and they're an Insect Glaive main user, and they said that this is the best Insect Glaive ever in Monster Hunter history. So you can take that on board and look forward to the full.
It has no
version of the
reason to be
weapon in the
circle.
final
It is
version
a
of the
weird
game.
place to put it.
Yeah, amazing. It's so great seeing Vaulting
But
Dance back. I know that it's been
There are
very,
so
very highly
many
requested from the
triggers that you
community.
got to use with
And I think
Insect
there's a lot of
Glaive.
people out there,
I don't know if
including
there's room.
myself and members of the community who doubted that it was something that could even be added back into the game. So it's so great to see it back and to see it in action. So moving on from the Insight Glaive, I know there's other weapons we want to touch on.
They could have just made it
we
triangle and
mentioned in the
circle.
previews that the Lance would be seeing some significant changes. So can you take us through those?
先にプレビューの段階で確かにランスも大きく大幅に調整を入れる予定になっているというふうに徳田さんがコメントしてたと思うんですけど、その詳細について教えてもらえますでしょうか。
はい。ランスは、多様なガードと、細やかな移動行動を駆使していて、過去シリーズよりもモンスターに張り付いていける選択肢を増やしたかったんですけれども、逆にそのモンスターの行動を見て待つ選択肢っていうのがなくなった結果、かえって行動の選択肢が狭まって、同じ行動を繰り返してしまうような
Charge counter can be used on everything?
繋がってしまう部分っていうのがありました。
Chained from any move.
Yeah, the Lance was something where the effects of the adjustments we made were somewhat on the unintentional side. So I wanted to add a variety
That
of
might
different
be too
options for
strong.
guarding and more fine footwork movement options. And the idea was to increase the tool set of things the players had available when they're using the Lance. But I think that the unintentional effect of that was that players weren't able to do the classic Lance move of being able to wait it out and see what the monster is going to do next and then respond to that in kind. And I think that we ultimately ended up, unfortunately, narrowing the options available. And some players even went so far as to say that the Lance action felt monotonous because ultimately, with the tools available, they still ended up repeating the same actions over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt that way, and that is literally skill issue for me, but it felt like that.
So in response to that, one thing that I've done is take the counter thrust move, which was a move that was available in past games with the Lance. I sort of resurrected that in a new form as what we're now calling the charge counter. And that's something that you can use while guarding as well.
I'm sure they're going to show it.
これによってカウンターで待つ、選択肢を作りつつ、さらに大きなモンスターの攻撃に対しては、ガードからパワーガードの方に派生していって、受けた攻撃によってため段階が変わる、新アクションっていうのも、足していってますので、そうしたものも含めた反撃の選択肢というのを取れるように、しています。
Every weapon's getting adjustments, Helix, but the only changes for Hammer is on other players.
Some of which you can see here, which includes a new move that can be chained into from both Perfect Guard and Power Guard. Means I think Lance players will appreciate the ability to read the monster's movements, and you can choose your counter-attack style, and you can even do a Power Guard that will now charge even more quickly or to higher levels if you successfully defend against more powerful monster attacks. So that sort of wait, read, and counter style of the Lance, I think is going to be getting much better than you might have experienced in the open beta.
I'm assuming you're going to show it.
混乱だったり暴発が
They went over that cat's lock, yeah, earlier. It was the first thing they showed.
連携するガードダッシュのキャンセルのタイミングを早くするなど、過去作でできたことっていうのは、なるべくフォローしながらやれることの幅っていうのを広げる調整をしています。僕はもちろんランススカイの藤岡さんも、結構、じっくり触っていまして、かなり感触良くなってきています。
There's also another variety of adjustments that we've made to the Lance in conjunction with Mr. Fujioka, the executive director and art director, who, as you guys know, is a Lance main, so he takes the Lance very seriously. And I worked together with him on these. So I wanted to expand the range of what you can do based on past titles. That has included actually removing some moves that you tended to chain into only on accident, and it would kind of cause confusion and mess up your combos. So I've sort of refined the moveset a little bit in those ways, while at the same time speeding up the cancellation timing of guard dashes that are chained into during combos. So I think that these changes, if you trust me,
Lance is the sort of thing you just have to play it
feel better than ever.
to know.
はい、動画の方もお持ちしたので、ご覧ください。
I've got a video for this too, so if we can run that, then you can see what I'm talking about.
Yes. Oh my god. Dude, is that new? Was that
There
new?
we have it. Lance getting straight to the point, as always. So hopefully our Lance mains out there, that has put a smile on your face. And for those of you that have never tried the weapon before, hopefully that's, sparked a bit of interest for you to go check it out come February.
That looks
But now
so
to
much
move on
better.
from the Lance, let's talk about the Switch Axe, which apparently has been made much stronger than it was in the open beta test. Tokuda-san, can you tell us a bit more about that, please?
次にランツから移してスラッシュアクスも OBT の時から大きく変わってると聞いてるんですけど、詳細お願いします。
はい、スラッシュアクに関しては、そのオノモードでゲージを貯めて、ゲームモ
They're
ード
gonna
で
buff
放
full
置していく
release
ような
slash.
基本的なサイクル自体は、変えていませんが、オノモードでのちょっとためにくさみたいなものは、多少緩和しつつ、
Maybe not the
剣モードで
right
の攻撃を、ゲージ消費に見合ったような威力とか手応えに調整を行っています。
Yeah, so with the Switch Axe, of course, the basic loop of charging up the Axe mode and then releasing in the Sword mode is the same. That's kind of what people expect from the weapon, but I understand from feedback that some players thought it was too difficult to get the Axe mode charged up, and
Not
that was
really.
something that I want to alleviate, so that difficulty has been adjusted. At the same time, the Sword mode has been adjusted to be this feeling more powerful and more responsive to match that gauge consumption.
特にフルリリーススラッシュは、手応えも威力も
Every weapon is getting
最
adjusted,
終的に
Datra,
見合った
but they may
性能
not get a
に
slide
向上させて
specifically.
います。
One move in particular that should be feeling a lot better now is the full release slash. It's been improved both in terms of its power output and its feeling.
Oh my
and
God.
It just feels like a much more appropriate finisher move in terms of how great it feels to pull off.
またカウンター切りの使い勝手を上げたりだとか、集中弱点攻撃の後隙を短くするなど、使いづらかったコードを少しずつ調整していって、全体的な遊びやすさというのを向上させています。
After
There were also
a
some
elemental
moves that
discharge
the,
turnip,
feedback from the player base was that they were a little bit too difficult to use. So using the counter rising slash in sword mode is something that's been made more usable. And I've also looked to shorten the animation lock period after using a focus strike with this weapon. So hopefully those things make it feel more usable.
はい、こちらも動画をご覧ください。
I've got a video for this one too. So
oh, they're
let's take a look.
burning through them now, man. That did look easier to pull off. Oh yeah. It comes right out.
Yeah, the changes to Switch Axe are looking really great. As somebody who really
So
likes
far,
the
Tang,
new
what they said
moveset
is
in
there
Monster
may
Hunter
be
Wilds,
a
these tweaks just
benchmark
make it,
tool
just take it to the
released
next
for
level, so I'm
PC.
really excited about that, and maybe I'll switch to the Switch Axe. Sorry. Well, next up we've got Sword and Shield. Jono, I know this is very near and dear to your heart as your main. Tokuda-san, can you take us through all of the tweaks here?
はい、次にご存知のようにジョノが
They're
メイン
still
に
adjusting the
使
hit
っている
stop
武器で
fog.
もあ
I'm
る
sure it's going to get a
カラテ剣
lot.
ですけど、こちらの調整についてはいかがでしょうか。
はい、まずですね、過去作とちょっとボタンは違うんですけれども、ガード中に切
Rising
り上げ
slash
です
can be
ね、
used while guarding.
アクションを復活させました。
Could it not before?
Yeah, so for the Sword and Shield, one thing we heard your voice very clearly on was that the loss of the ability to use Rising Slash while
Huh.
guarding
I didn't
was
notice.
being majorly felt, so that's back, and you can now perform that move while guarding again.
I mean, I was
ま
basically
た
shield
通
bashing the
常
whole
攻撃だったり、
time.
ジャストラッシュといった、各種攻撃の威力を、上げていったりだとか、各種行動のレスポンスの方も、向上させて、さらにバックステップと滑り込み切りの
Ooh,
回避性能を
more
強化するなど
iframes.
全体的なこの威力と、レスポンス手触りを向上を、させています。
And there's also various improvements, as you can see on the next couple of points here, being made to the weapon's sort of feel and also attack output. So normal attacks and the perfect rush have had their parameters improved. The responsiveness of your sort of more bread and butter mobile combos like the chop and side slash combo have been improved, and same goes for guard slash and perfect rush. And then finally the backstep and the sliding swipe have had their effectiveness when it comes to evasion improved as well. So lots of changes all across the board for Sword and
How was
Shield.
Perfect Rush in the beta? People were
こ
just
ちらも
spamming
動
new
画をご覧
move,
ください。
pretty
Yep, you
much.
guessed it, another video for this weapon, so let's run it and see how it looks.
would look so good with Element. Dude, the hit effects actually look pretty good. That move right there, the down stab, is the one people were using a lot.
Oh my goodness. To my fellow Sword and Shield enjoyers, we are truly eating good in Wilds. Those changes look
The new move did scale,
delicious.
but not
What
enough
can I say?
for
And for
forming
those that
one.
haven't tried Sword and Shield yet, here's a really good excuse to give it a go. But enough of me gushing about the Sword and Shield, because I could do that for the next hour. You know, there are other weapons too that have had some adjustments, maybe not as extensive as the four we've shown so far, but many have received tweaks. So, Tokuda-san, could you please take us through these at a broader level?
こちらの4つの武器ほど、大規模な変更ではないかもしれないんですけれども、全体的な武器の調整について教えてもらえますでしょうか。
はい、先ほどの4つの武器も含めてになるんですが、まずその
Oh,
属
thank
性値
God.
だったりとか、スキルの効果も踏まえたエン
Oh,
ド環境
thank
を残した
God.
数値調整というのを、全武機種、広く、行っています。その過程で、意図したバランスになっていないものだったりとか、意図しない武器格差
That
みたい
bow
な
was a
ものが、
menace, dude.
生まれていた部分については調整を予定しています。
Yeah, as you said, all the weapons are receiving general wide-ranging adjustments to everything from their skills, their elemental values.
Yeah, full burst was
I
still
don't
pretty
want there
good,
to be
Aizue. That is true.
unintentional weapon tiering happening. I want to balance the weapon lineup so that everything has a valid place and everything is a viable choice, not just for playing the full game when it comes out, but going through to completing the game and then moving on to the end game content. I know that these balance adjustments need to stand up for many hours of gameplay from you
End game?
guys, and that's the intention with this overall balancing approach I have.
基本的には、各武器種が持つコンセプトとか触り心地が実現できているかっていうのを重要視した調整を行っていまして、強いものを下げるというよりはどちらかというと低いものを上げていきながら、武器種間の格差もできるだけなくしていくような、方向性で、調整しています。
And my general concept is that I want each weapon to feel true to its own unique concept, because each of them has a place in the lineup of 14 weapons. In order to do that, I don't want to lower the high values to make everything meet in the middle. I actually want to raise up the lower values to make the weapons that we're feeling
I
less
felt like the
feel more viable. And
the charge
going
shelling
toe-to-toe
made
with,
sense
the
sometimes,
other weapons in the
Aizue.
lineup. So that's kind of my approach.
はい、その、主だった例として弓を挙げますけれども、弓はシルベの矢と、刺してそこに対して矢が飛んでいく、機能なんですけど、それと集中弱点攻撃の方にダメージのソースが、かなり偏っていたんですけれども、その部分も、通常攻撃だったりだとか局射のようなものの威力を上げつつ、さらにそれらの行動のつながりだったりレスポンスとかを向上させて、その他の行動でもしっかりダメージを取れるような、調整を行っています。
As on the slide here, the bow is a good example of this kind of general adjustment. I think that in the version that you guys would have played in the beta, the damage output was getting pretty biased towards using the tracer shots.
Dude, it was so
combined with the
bad.
focus strike attacks.
It was so bad.
And, this is something that I wanted to adjust. So again, as I said, rather than bringing those down, what I've done is bring up the normal shots and the arc shot power, make those attacks more viable, and at the same time, general responsiveness has been improved
Just
across the
buff
board
bow.
for the bow, including transitions and chaining between different
I'm
different
sure it'll be
attacks.
fine.
So that makes it feel like a more cohesive.
It didn't get its
True to
own
the bow
slide.
concept.
Charge Blade did not get its own slide.
また集中弱点攻撃で、複数の傷だったりシルベの矢をまとめてロックオンして破壊することができたんですけども、
Tracer should have just not built any gauge. That should all just be built by shooting normally. And then you
One more
cycle
thing to
the
mention
coatings
is that,
onto tracer
as
shots.
of
That would
the
have been
beta,
fine.
The focus strike targeting capability was locking onto multiple wounds more or less simultaneously at the same time. And I've rebalanced this now so that whenever you try to lock on to multiple wounds, they'll lock on one at a time with a brief delay in between each one. So that's another balance adjustment that's been
Thank
made
God.
here.
はい、夢についても動画を用意しましたので、ご覧ください。
And you can see that and more in this video. Let's run it.
Okay. That seems okay. I wonder if they increase the damage on it.
このようにですね、単なる下方修正にならないように、武器の魅力だったり、ユーザーの選択肢の幅が広がるようにことを意識しながら、すべての武器の調整を行っています。
Yeah, hopefully when you watch that, you get a sense of what I meant, which was I don't want to just bring the powerful aspects of weapons or the more powerful weapons down to the same level. I want to make adjustments to each weapon to make every single weapon feel like a viable choice in the lineup of weapons in Monster Hunter, and the players have lots to choose from, and everything has its place.
Yeah. Hakuda is
Yeah,
a
I really
genius,
love
man.
that philosophy behind all the balancing changes and the improvements. And I know one weapon that I think we would be remiss if we didn't bring up, and a lot of people are really passionate about, is the hunting horn. Could you talk about some of the changes that the hunting horn is receiving?
The hunting horn was fine,
グロー
but
ブは特に多くのユーザーからフィードバックがあった武器だと思うんですけど、こちらの最終的な仕様変更などはいかがでしょうか？
そうですね、狩猟笛の
Offset was really hard. You're right.
メカニクスというか、
No, he's right.
そういうものについては、ユーザーさんも僕も含めて、結構気に入って、います。なんですけれども、サブ武器としての性能というのがちょっと、強すぎる面がありましたので、そのあたりは手を加えようと思っています。
Hunting Horn is a weapon that I myself really enjoy playing, and I think we've heard from lots of players that they find it really fun. It's a very viable main weapon. So actually the adjustments that I want to make for Monster Hunter Wilds based on the beta were about how it felt a bit too strong as a sub-weapon.
OBT ではですね、攻撃力アップ、小の戦慄効果までしかなかったので、そこまで問題にならなかったんですけれども、製品版の方では、
I feel like Hammer, they should just let you hold the offset forever.
あとそれらの効果を
At least until your stamina
時間を長く
drains.
するスキルなどもありましたので、サブ武器としてかなりちょっと強い面が、ありました。
It wasn't too bad in the OBT because being a limited slice of the gameplay, the melodies that were available for the Hunting Horn only actually went up to Attack Up S. But when you take that into the full game and you're going all the way up to Attack Up L, it just meant that the melody effects were too overpowered, and it just became too much of an obvious meta choice to have the Hunting Horn as a backup weapon because of how powerful the parameters were whenever you were buffing not just yourself but your whole party.
でですね、自分強化の戦慄効果のパラメーターというのを速度のアップも含めて底上げしつつ、他の、プレイヤーへの、戦慄効果のパラメーターだったりだとか、狩猟笛から他の武器種に変更したときにその、効果時間延長のスキルの効果がなくなるなどの調整を行っていって、サポート武器としての価値は残しつつもバランスを整えるような形にしています。
So yeah, with a view to rebalancing that, what I've actually done is the melody effects when you strengthen yourself, when you buff yourself, have actually been increased, been made more powerful.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
conversely, the effect on others has been decreased to rebalance its focus. The other thing that has changed is that when you change back from the Hunting Horn to the other weapon that you have with you, the amount of time that the melody
Yeah,
effect was
makes
being
sense.
applied and for an extended amount of time. That skill has been adjusted so that when you change back to your other weapon, it's not going to hang around for as long whenever you've got the buff applied to other players. So I think that those balances still make it a valuable choice as a support weapon, but it just makes it less OP, to use the community phrase.
I still feel like people are going to
Yeah,
buff
hopefully that's
themselves
music
with
for the
great
ears of
sword
our
and stuff,
dudes out
but
there, you know, putting respect on the weapon for those that main it and are proud of the tunes they bring to the hunt. And kind of moving on from that a little bit and moving away from weapons. Well, actually, I say that we're moving further into weapons here. We've got some juicy details to go into. Earlier on in the stream, you mentioned to Guda-san in the final version that balance will be adjusted to take into the account the existence of skills that were not included in the open beta test. So that does mean that in Monster Hunter Wilds, the skill building system has changed a lot from what we know, right?
先ほど
What do you know,
OBT に入ってなか
Jana?
ったようなスキルの存在など
Good
も
luck,
考
Turnip.
慮して製品版の全コンテンツを通してバランスを、検討されているとのことでしたが、確かにワイルズでスキルの仕組み自体は大きく変わっていると思うんですけど、そちらについてちょっと詳細に説明してもらえますでしょうか。
はい、OBT を受けた、調整内容とちょっと話が、変わりますけれども、インタビューなど以外ではちょっとこれまできちんと説明できていなかった部分でもありますので、ご紹介させていただきます。
Yeah, this is something that isn't strictly speaking a OBT feedback response, but it's something that I think I've mentioned a few times in interviews that have gone out with the previews, but I wanted to take the chance on today's stream just to kind of really make it clear exactly what the implications of this new system are. So let's take a look at an example with this screenshot.
今まではその防具のパーツに装備のスキルが、ついていましたけれども、特定の武器種にしか効果がないようなタイプのスキルが入っていると、その防具に合う武器種を選ぶしかなくなってしまったりだとか、切り合わせがしにくくなってしまうみたいなことが、発生している部分がありました。
So on previous titles, the place where you put equipment skills has always been the armor rather than the weapon, right? So that meant if you needed to equip skills that were sort of specific to a certain weapon or category of weapons, there was sort of an inevitability about certain skills and certain armor gear being the kind of only viable choice whenever you were going to go out with that particular weapon equipped, and that kind of limited, I think, the players' freedom to choose what exactly it was they wanted to wear.
今作ではメイン武器とサブ武器を切り替えられるように、なっていますので、これまでの仕組み、スキルの仕組みですと武器を切り替えた時に、せっかくのスキルビルドが無駄になってしまう場面が、出てきます。なので、今作では例えば攻撃とかガード性能のような、武器に紐づくようなスキルは武器側に、つく形にして、例えば早食いのような、補助的なスキルについては防具側につけるような形に、変更しております。
The other implication of the fact that in Monster Hunter
They
World,
basically
you could
said
bring
that,
a hang of a
Jabberwock.
sub-weapon was that your carefully chosen skill build on your armor would be completely
They
wasted.
said they're going to greatly
If or
shorten
not, whenever you change weapons,
buffs
suddenly
when you
all those
switch.
skills that you'd equipped on the armor might not be relevant depending on what the second weapon was. So the system now has changed so that skills that are mostly tied to weapon functions, such as attack boost and guard, are now attached to the weapons themselves directly.
Interesting.
And then other more supplementary skills, such as speed eating, are still attached to armor. And by separating out where the skills go, it means that your skill build will actually make a lot more sense even as you change weapons throughout the hunt.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so this is a pretty significant change to how players are going to be able to build their sets, and hopefully it'll result in lots of variety in terms of the different weapons people use and different armor sets. But one question I had is, what happens
Wex
when
weapons,
are
yeah,
upgraded?
very
Do
strange.
these skills disappear, or what happens with them?
このシステムになって、例えば武器を強化して派生で新しい武器にしたときに、自分その入ってたスキルがなくなったりすることはあるのでしょうか。
はい、ここちょっと分かりにくいとこ
Hunter
ろなん
Run
ですけど
buffs other players, but not as much as it used to.
同じ武器派生の強化でスキルが消えることということは、ありませ
And
ん。
if you switch, apparently it'll
Yeah, that's
shorten.
a great question and maybe a concern people might have had if it wasn't super clear how the system works. So it's a good chance to be very clear about it. Skills will never disappear from a weapon whenever you upgrade it within the same weapon tree.
今画面に映っているのが、ホープブレード2で、投資高速化のスキルが、ついているかと思います。
So as you can see here on this screenshot, the Hope Blade 2 in the equipment info panel, you can see that it's got the speed sharpening equipment skill on it.
これを強化、したスライドに変えていただきますと、
When you upgrade that, it changes to a different weapon, and I think we have a second screenshot prepared, which we can switch to now.
ホープブレード3に強化した形になると、
Grid Eye is now a 5-point
のスキルがついたまま、見切りの、スキルが新たに追加されています。
So as you can see with this screenshot of the Hope Blade 3, the equipment skill speed sharpening has been retained, and we've got an additional skill called Critical Eye, which has been included with the upgraded weapon.
ですので、その、
It gave 4% affinity too. You're right.
別のものがついたり強化されたり
I
して
don't know if that's including the crit eye or
いきながら、
not.
を、強化していくことができます。
So So as you can see, the skills didn't reduce, and some can be added, and also the level of existing skills might be increased the more you upgrade the weapon within the tree.
また後半の、派生の武器に
It's
なる
hard
と
to
ですね
say how it's going to scale.
武器の
Like,
方
will
に
it go
スロッ
4 to
トが空い
10?
ていて、そこにこう装飾品を入れることによって、自分好みのこうスキルビルドを楽しむことも、可能になります。
Also, in addition to these built-in equipment skills that are baked into each level of the weapon, there are, of course, decoration slots. So the further you go down the weapon tree, the more decoration slots will open up on the weapon at the higher levels, and that's going to let you create your own skill build to your own liking and combine the pre-built ones with the ones you add later using
I
decorations.
mean, decorations are definitely going to be a
I
huge
think
part
that
of
is really,
the
really
end game
exciting. I
grind.
mean, having the skills set this way means that, you know, as we mentioned earlier, that there's going to be far less instances of there being a particular weapon that is the best for, you know, multiple situations. And when you're building your sets, you know, your weapon will directly contribute to that. And also, you know, you can switch between your weapons without it, you know, neutering your armor set that you've kind of been meticulously building. So I'm really, really excited to see, one, what the community discover, and two, like how they use it. And, you know, I can't wait to see what the different sword and shields have as well. So that's really, really cool. And
How much
now,
more
you know,
raw is
let's
that?
move on a bit.
It's
Let's
base
have a little chat
48.
about a few other things that we've seen in the beta and things like that. And there's one thing that kind of really stood out to Joe and I, and for anyone in the community who frequents the different Monster Hunter subreddits that are out there. And one of them was the most beautiful collage.
40.
It was a collage of many
40
hunters
more raw.
using shielded weapons, pulling the biggest frowns as they guarded against the wrath of monsters, kind of like a kind of face. Now, you know, what's the situation with that? What's going on there, Takuda-san?
今、ジョノまで変顔してると思うんですけど、最後の質問タイムに入らせていただきます。多くのプレイヤーが気づいた仕様としては、肩を構えたときに、ハンターが若干変顔になり気味だったんですけど、こちらは意図的な仕様なのか、修正されるものなのか教えてください。
はい、変顔にしたかったわけじゃなくて、武器を構えた時にその気張ったような顔に、したかったんですけど、まさかちょっとあそこまで気張った顔になってるとはちょっと想定外なところがありましたので、直します。
Yeah, thank you for your very demonstrative version of the face. My intention was to show that when someone grabs tight onto a shield to guard an attack, that they would sort of be, you know, grimacing or have an intensity to the expression, but the way it turned out wasn't really what I wanted it to be. So we're going to change that in the final game and have it look a little bit less weird and a little bit more cool and intense.
Well, I'm a little bit sad that it's being changed because it was extremely funny. Totally understand that, you know, we want our hunters to be immersed in the world, and that's one of those things that might take you right out of it.
I don't even know what they're talking about.
I want to shift gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about multiplayer. We did
The character
hear
make a
some
funny
feedback
face
from
when they
players that
guarded
were a
with
little bit
sword and
confused
shield
on
or
the
something?
different ways to get into multiplayer, and just you know, just weren't quite sure how to play with their friends easily. So Tokuda-san, can you touch just a little bit on multiplayer and matching up with friends and how that's going to work in the full game?
変顔がなくなること自体は個人的には少し
Faces
寂しい
angry
思い
while
もあるんです
guarding?
けど、確かにかっこいい顔にしてもらえるんだったら製品版も
Sounds good.
楽しみにしますというこ
I
と
don't
で
know.
す。次の質問になりますが、オープンベータで多くのプレイヤーからちょっとマルチプレイの仕様について、どういうふうにやればいいかわからない、つながり方わからない、この仕様についてどう使ったらいいか、ちょっと使いづらく感じた人もいたと思うんですけど、この辺について、製品版の仕様や、使い方のアドバイスを込みでアドバイスをお願いします。
はい、まず製品版では、ロビーの ID を教え合った人しか入れない、プライベートロビーという機能だったりとか、特定のサークルの人たちだけが集まれるサークルロビーのような、友達と会いやすい機能というのが追加されます。
So firstly, in the full game, there will be multiplayer features that weren't included in the open beta test, which I think will make it easier to get together with just the people you want to play
You
with.
know,
So
Patrick,
one of those will be private lobbies, which
his audio is
as the
actually
name
pretty
implies,
good.
They'll have a lobby ID, and only those people who you've shared the ID with can join in. We'll also see the return of the squad system.
Like, I don't even think it's
Squad
that
lobbies will
bad.
be available only to your squad members, and that's going to make it so that you can, you know, have your friends get together really easily.
またですね、OBT ではリンクパーティーや環境リンクといった機能が、入っていたんで
I
す
don't
け
know
ど
if
も、
he's using those
こういう
Apple
のは
earbuds or
複
whatever.
数のフィールドが、ある状態で、各メンバーの環境が変化していく中で、
Joe looks like he's using a blue Yeti.
ものなので、
I don't know what
一つの
Jono's
フィールド
using.
で変化の幅が少ない OBT だとちょっと分かりにくい機能に、なっていました。製品版の方では、リリース後にしかるべきタイミングで、情報を、発信していく予定になります。
On the flip side of that, there were features that were in the OBT that I think maybe didn't really, players didn't have a chance to really fully understand them, given the fact that the OBT was such a limited slice of the game. What I'm talking about is the link parties and also in particular the environmental link feature.
Yeah, I don't
These were
understand the
designed
link
for
parties
full
that well.
game Were across multiple different maps, each of which has varying weather conditions across different phases. If you imagine getting online, you and Jono and Joe want to play together with me, and we're all in different areas, and
They aren't making it sound like there's going to be a
choosing
demo, I
which one to
guess.
hunt or whatever else might be difficult. The environmental link means we can kind of settle on a state for the game to be in and have that synchronize and make our gameplay go a lot smoother. With the OBT, you only had the windward plains and a limited amount of changeable extreme weather conditions, and I think a lot of players were a bit sort of having a question mark about what the functionality of these
It
features
sounds like
were.
we're going to
but,
get a benchmark tool on
Trust me,
PC.
it'll make a lot more sense when the full game comes out, and we'll provide more details on how to use those effectively when the time comes.
No, I appreciate the details. I mean, it's really cool to hear that, you'll be able to have a lot more control over the multiplayer experience you want.
I thought the
So if you do wanna play with just
cross-platform
your
worked
pals,
great,
You can.
Patslog.
If you want to play with your squad, or if you want to play with anyone in the world who's also playing, you can. So it's great to know that those options
Environmental
are gonna be
link
there
makes sense.
for our community. And obviously,
You
talking
have to
about
host the
multiplayer,
whole world, though,
Monster
right?
Hunter Wilds takes the multiplayer experience in Monster Hunter to a whole new level, the biggest it's ever been, with 100-player lobbies and camps that can hold up to 16 hunters at a time, which is fantastic. The kind of interactions we're all going to be able to have and that we had in the OBT. Obviously, but with that, though, there comes a lot of chatter, a lot of stickers. And if someone's being a bit cheeky, they can, spam in stickers and excitement and things like that. So for those of us that, might want a slightly more relaxed public multiplayer experience around, chat and stickers, what's the situation there going forward?
マルチプレイの設定面といえばですけど、多くのプレイヤーから寄せてもらっているフィードバックとしては、これだけたくさんの人数のプレイヤーが同時につながっているロビーになってしまうと、
Takuda knows.
どうしてもチャットの方
Takuda was doing it.
メッセージやステッカー
Takuda
が
was saying it, one of the guys
多分
hanging out in the camp just
入っ
spamming
てきて
stickers.
し
You
まっ
could
て
tell.
落ち着けないようなロビーになってしまっているという、フィードバックが多かったんですけど、こちらについて何か対策を考えられたりしますでしょうか。
はい、まず製品版の方では、
He's like, "It's in the game because I want to do it."
発言を、自分の画面でミュートに、指定することが、できます。
Oh yeah, firstly in the full game, if one particular person is blowing up in the lobby chat, you'll be able to mute them. So that's a very targeted feature you'll be able to make use of.
Oh.
またですね、クエストだったり、リンクパーティーを組んだときには、チャットチャンネルが自動で切り替わって、ロビーメンバーのチャット通知がされなくなるなど、いくつか対策を、入れていっています。
Also, we're going to adjust how the chat channels work whenever you do something like start a quest or a link party. What's going to happen is that the chat will automatically switch over to just the participants of that quest or that party, and you'll stop being notified of the general lobby chatter. And I think that will improve the feeling of whenever you start something with just your friends or other players, that it limits the range of who you're going to hear stuff from.
On it, yeah. The sticker spam in particular was something that I got a few messages about, and I watched a few streams during the open beta, and that was definitely something that people would have liked to adjust. So it's great to hear that's happening. Something
It wasn't
I
even
was
that big of a
really
deal. I
pleasantly
mean, it's
surprised by
just
when booting up
goofy.
the open beta were all the options for the different HUD display to have it bigger, to adjust it whether you're sitting at a TV or you're sitting at a
These.
desk.
Adjust the wiggle.
But even with that, I think there are additional areas where that could be improved. So what are our plans in the full game to adjust the HUD even further?
ハードの表示についてですけど、OBT 段階でもすでにテレビ
Dude, if they let us
向けの
remove the
大きさや
wiggle,
ディス
that's
クの
so
大きさ
good.
の設定があったりして、かなり細かく入ってたと思うんですけど、さらに製品
You
版
could
に
already
向け
tell
て
he says they're
ハー
gonna
ドの
do it.
表示
You
のオプションを追加しよう
can just tell he's going to
と
do it.
思ってるのでしょうか。
Yeah,
そうですね。まずオプション以前にですね、そもそもの表示の部分で、武器の、固有の表示だったりだとか、一部の要素の大きさなど、見やすさに関わる調整っていうのは、入れていって、より見やすく、しています。
Well, firstly, even before we get into the idea of options you can change, I am looking at feedback on the size of the specific weapon unique UI elements that each weapon has. And we're going to review those and make sure that by the time the game comes out that the relative sizes of all those elements is going to make sense for everyone.
のアップデートで、オプションなどの拡充というのも、随時検討しております。
As for additional UI options, we're considering if we can add any in future post-launch updates, so stay tuned on that.
Nice. Watch this space. Now, thank you so much for answering all these questions so far, Tokuda-san. And, we are getting near the end of the pre-launch community update stream. So I have one small question that you may have seen amongst the community and one that Joe and I see everywhere. And, let's just between us, we'll keep it between us. Is there going to be another open beta test before launch?
こちらからの最後の質問になるんですけど、毎日のようにコミュニティマネージャーの方の DM やインボックスにも入ってる質問なので、どうしても聞かせてほしいんですが、ここだけの話、ぶっちゃけ OBT はまた次回遊べる機会があるのでしょうか。教えてください、徳田さん。
完全に両道さんとかが答えるような
Says Ask Ryozo?
だと思うんですけども、特別にお答えすると、検討自体は、しています。ですが、もし追加の OBT を実施するとしてもですね、基本的には前回の OBT を遊べなかった方だったりだとか、その追加の、項目テストが、主な目的となりますので、今日お話したような、内容っていうのは基本的に製品版とか Day1 パッチ向けの対応になっていますので、OBT には反映されない形になります。ちょっとその点はご了承いただきたいです。
Not good, guys.
And that's the kind of question where I'm used to leaving out to Ryozo, who'd be here with us, and he could answer that kind of high-level decision. But since you've asked, I will address that. We are considering if we will bring back the open beta test, but I would need to make clear that that would purely be essentially another chance for players who missed it the first time around to get a chance to try the game again, and we might maybe be able to add a couple of additional options here or there for people to try out. It wouldn't be something where all the various detailed weapon adjustments we've discussed today would be included. Those are strictly being worked on the basis of including them in the full game.
Because they have a whole separate team.
So again,
that work on the demo. Like that's their one thing they do.
The open beta test, but please wait for the full game to come out in order to experience all the wonderful changes we've discussed today. And hopefully you can understand why we've had to separate those two considerations.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll have to stay tuned for the future for any news. We have covered so much today. I think this has been quite a long stream already. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to discuss before we wrap things up?
今日は結構長時間にかけていろんな詳細について教えてもらえたのですごく良かったです。
I mean, they really changed a lot of stuff. And to get all that implemented in the demo.
質問でカバーできていないポイントがあればこの機会にどうぞ教えてください。
はい、
They want those people working on the game, not working on another demo.
言い間違いをしたところがありますので訂正させていただきたいです。
Yeah, there's actually something, it's not so much new information, but I want to have the chance to clarify and maybe make up for a misstatement I might have made during some of the press interviews that we had about the game. So that's something I'd like to discuss now.
サポートハンターが傷を壊さないオプションがあるというふうに言ってしまったんですけど、そちらは電話には入らない形になります。
I think in at least one interview I said that there would be an option in the game where you could set it so that the support hunters who can join you via the SOS flare would not go and break wounds for you, that they'd leave that for you. And that's something that actually won't be in the game on day one.
発売日の仕様としては、プレイヤーが傷をつけてからしばらくの間、壊さないですけど、
They've created little monsters. They don't know how to stop them.
集中弱点攻撃を使用して傷を破壊することが、発生するようになります。
So the way it's going to work at launch is that if you inflict a wound, but you, for whatever reason, you're not really proactively breaking that wound with your own focus strike, and a certain amount of time passes, maybe a minute or more passes, and you still haven't gone for it, that's the point at which the support hunters will start to look to use a focus strike to break the wound for you.
とサポートハンターの、キャラクターによって壊しやす
I
い
like
だったり壊しにくいだったり、あともう乗りやすい乗りにくいだったり、先行玉を使ってくれやすいみたいな、行動特性というのはキャラクターによって異なります。
That's something that's sort of unique to each support hunter's personality, though. Each character has a slightly different approach and an AI working for them. So whether or not they're quicker on the draw with focus strikes or less so, it also applies to other features like how often they might try and mount a monster, whether they find mounting harder, whether they're busting out things.
It's
like
an interesting
flash
question,
often,
Toad, but
less
it's
often.
like
Those all kind of depend on the character.
that's somebody getting
themselves,
too
so it's
deep
not
in the
something that's
weeds, you
gonna
know.
happen on a strict schedule, no matter what.
どのサポートハンターに来てほしいかという指定は、
I think they were in the demo,
トランプデー
Eladius.
トでは、検討しております。
So the option that I'm looking to add, perhaps in a title update after launch, is letting players specify which NPC support hunters can join them and which ones they don't want to join them. So that's how I intend to add. the
Right
ability
now,
to
is it just
control
like an
the frequency
unruly
of that
mob
particular
that
feature.
flies in?
あと細かいことですけど、Day 1パッ
That's
チ
kind
だ
of
と
funny.
お供とかサポートハンターが
That's really
サイン
funny.
を、送ると自分のところに、来てくれるようになって、ちょっと便利
It's
に
kind
な
of
る。
realistic, though.
Relatedly, one additional feature I wanted to
They only
confirm
show up
was
if you
when
shoot an
use the
SOS theory.
signal, the sort of ping that you activate through the menus, the Palicos and the support hunters will come to your side during a hunt. So that's just a little quality of life feature that we've added.
Oh, that's really, really cool. And yeah, thank you for the little tidbits of information there. We really appreciate it, Takuda-san. And with that, I think we were kind of coming to the end of our pre-launch community update. So we hope you've all enjoyed it. Joe, anything you want to say before we pass over to Takuda-san and Patrick?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody out there for sharing their feedback. I know we say a lot that we are listening, and hopefully you guys feel that way after seeing all the updates here. And
This was
definitely wanna take the chance to thank Takuda-san for joining us. This has been super informative, and I know you're super busy, and the team is extremely busy getting the game ready for launch. So we very much appreciate it, and I'd like to toss it over to you for any closing remarks here.
今日は非常に珍しい機会として直接いろんなお話を聞けて、徳田さんにはこの発売直前のご多忙中の時期にこれだけお時間いただいて非常に感謝しております。最後に徳田さんからユーザーへのメッセージなどあればお願いします。
はい、まずこのような直接ユーザーの皆さんに声を届ける機会を作ってくれた、ジョーとジョの、パトリック、またサポートしてくれた皆さんに、感謝、申し上げます。
Firstly, let me take the chance to thank you guys, Jono and Joe, the community managers, as well as Patrick. It's always slightly weird to refer to yourself.
FTJK, they said they might release a benchmark for Steam.
Thank you for your support in setting up this opportunity today.
I could see them doing that with a character creator. That makes sense to me.
ありがとうございました。
Yeah, we're working across 3 time zones here. So I'm in Tokuda-san, that is in Japan. Jono and Patrick are in the UK, and Joe is in the US. So it's difficult to coordinate across so many time zones. So thank you for your work on that.
また改めまして、OBT に、ご参加いただき、様々なご意見をいただきましたハンターの皆さんに、感謝申し上げます。OBT ではたくさんの声をいただいてからですね、チームの働きだったり製品のクオリティの向上というのは、本当に目覚ましいものがありまして、今もそれが続いています。ご期待いただけるってことがこんなにも力になるんだなってことを、改めて実感しています。
Just another, to repeat my previous sentiments, thank you so much to all the players who took part in the OBT. It's such a valuable opportunity for us to get your feedback and hear your voices, and we've taken that back to the team. It's become great motivation for them to keep working on the game's quality as we reach the final stages of development. And from what I've seen, they're doing great things, and there's some really great eye-opening stuff happening with the game, and we're continuing to work on that. So again, thank you for the opportunity to implement your feedback in the game.
It really is a pleasure. And once again, to echo Joe, thank you to Takuda-san for your time. We know how incredibly busy
They
yourself
already
and the
said
team
several
are.
times
Thank you,
performance is
Patrick,
better
for translating
theory.
for us today. It's great to have you with us again after you joined us at Gamescom. And, from all of us here as well, thank you to you, the community, our awesome players. I mean, your feedback from the beta, your patience, your passion, it really is incredible. So thank you so much. And, does anyone have any ideas the best way to round this off? Joe, perhaps?
We wouldn't dare do a happy hunting across multiple time zones. You'll see the lag, but we should do it. We should try it, right?
All right. Do you want to give us a countdown?
ちょっと最後にどうしてもタイムラグが発生すると思うんですけど、人狩り行こうぜの英語になるハッピーハンティングで最後の掛け声でカウントダウンの後にお願いします。
OK。OK。
I'll do the countdown. All right, ready? All right. 3, 2, 1. Happy hunting! We tried.
Bye, everyone.
All right, thank you, everybody.
One more.
One more.
Well, let's just kind of line a little bit.
OK。
Okay.
He wants to get it right.
3, 2, 1. Happy hunting! Yeah.
He's great, man. They're all great. They all did a great job. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, it's gonna explode on me eventually, but the person asking about
状
performance,
態いい。
you can see here that on the PS5, they really are trying to lock 60 FPS, and they almost, in a way, made it sound like they're really trying to push down the lowest minimum spec. Like, I don't think it's gonna run well on the Steam Deck, but I could see them trying to make it playable on the Steam Deck. The craziest thing was that right at the end, like, Takuda made one comment at one interview that nobody read, where he said you could disable the AI SOS hunters from wounding. And he misspoke. And he really went out of his way to correct that. I mean, it's cool he did it, man, but that's like perfection to the extreme. Maybe in the Japanese press? But like, of all the things to of all the things to worry about, who is the guy, like, who is the journalist? Like, you are there, you're locked in with Takuda. You can ask him anything, and somehow the question goes to, can I disable my SOS, my AI SOS companions from wounding the monster? I mean, you fucking called them in. You pushed the button. Like, just don't call them. Not only, but hold on. Not only did you call them in, there's a wound and you're not hitting the wound. Because it's not even like they go in immediately. He does say they all have a delay. I don't know, man. Better that than spending time on Reddit, but that's crazy. I mean, this is definitely even more way deep into the weeds and details of like the real background framework of everything than anything we ever got for World. I mean, for Rise, we got almost nothing, and we got patch notes, but you didn't normally have people talking through them, explaining them, and then showing like recorded video of them. I don't know that we ever really got that, you know? I mean, in a way, it was kind of, it was always fun. It was, some of the title updates for Rise weren't fun. Not many of them were fun, actually, but it feels like so many different games, because depending on when you dropped out of playing Rise, or especially Sunbreak, like some of those patches like completely change things. Like, I think even like the final 5.5 update changed so many of the motion values, and you still have people making videos with like old information. But you can't blame them because things got changed so often. But it wasn't like discreetly communicated. It's usually just something like we adjusted the values, you know? So this is very interesting. Obviously, they're not showing us motion values now. I don't know that they'll ever show us motion values. I'm kind of on the side that, like, if we're getting hunter notes with that are giving us hit zones, it's time. It'll be 2025. Show us the motion values. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, no, I mean, Sunbreak, by the time Sunbreak came out, Cat's Lock, I mean, they were off and cooking, you know. I mean, Sunbreak got a ton of updates. A lot of the monsters we got were more subspecies, variants, whatever, but it got a lot of updates, you know. I mean, six real title updates with new monsters and skills and everything. I think that has to be more than either World or Iceborne. I mean, I think most of those got like four big ones, maybe 5, but certainly not 6. They gave us a training dummy and damage numbers with decimals. But you know, the thing that makes things difficult is green is a 1.05 modifier. Now, I guess with decimals, things are going to be a lot easier. But previous to that, even in games with damage numbers, it was always like, huh? What? Huh? So great stream. I mean, I'm a little disappointed that we're not getting another open beta demo, but at the same time, you know, they've got 2 months. I mean, you got to think about it now, Raspberry. Like, if they had another demo ready to go today, that would be fine. But at this point, they're 2 months away. The first beta came out. Crossplay was working great. The servers didn't melt down. The changes that they want to make are basically all stuff internal to the game and performance. So, you know, I'm sure they have a Steam Deck in Capcom's office. I'm sure they have is it a 1070 is the lowest spec? 1660 Ti? You know? Well, I mean, you know, in Japan, I mean, they have parties on Christmas. I don't know how much people take time off. I mean, they'll take time off for the New Year's. It makes sense. What I think of this preview, that's what I'm saying right now. I think this is one of the best things like this we've ever gotten for Monster Hunter. I mean, the only thing that comes close is, you know, when World was out, Base World, and then for some parts of Iceborne, you know, they would come out and then they'd all be sitting around a table and they'd be talking. I remember at one point they released this crazy looking thing called Ryozo's Room in Iceborne. It was like a little candy house or something. You had like candy beds and stuff like that. That was funny. But you know, rarely did they ever go into like, let me see if I could pull something up like that. Like, not even that. Like Insect Glaive, like a page this long about Insect Glaive. What about a demo? The only thing you're most likely to get a benchmark. And then what they did say is maybe more or less a repeat of the previous demo. Maybe with some performance updates. So it's not like you're going to get a demo in the forest or anything. No demo or beta at all. I'm just telling you what they said, you know? Yeah, and like I met the guys, like I met the team at E3 2019. The guys, it's like it was their job to make the demo. Like they had a whole team, and that team just made demos for, you know, whatever, previews, reviews, trade shows, stuff like that. Like there's a group of people, it's their job to do that. And then at a certain point, you probably want to pull those people in and get them doing, I mean, at the very least, QA, you know? You think their balance decision was bad for the most part. So let's, now that they're not talking, I could talk, I guess. Hitstop looks good to start. Obviously, they're going to be adjusting this for another 2 months. I thought it was very strange how Charge 1 still has no hit stop. Like, that was nothing. That was nothing at all. Strong Charge, you get a little bit. And then, of course, TCS gets big one. Personally, 5-minute pinatas? Where were you finding 5-minute pinatas? Rise? Once you're at the end game and you're running full crit boost, attack, yeah, I mean, you're going to fuck things up. If you're good, man, I mean, what is it, a humble brag? I don't care about friendly fire. Like, I really don't care. Like, that doesn't affect me in any way. I want to show Insect Glaive. Here's Insect Glaive. What else are they showing here? Oh, right. The monster's moving. They said that was a bug. Insect Glaive. You know, I gotta say, you know, Rise is the first game that really made that a viable play style. Obviously, you had a lot of people in Base World that took the advancing aerial slash and just used it nonstop, and it was bad 95, 99% of the time. I liked that move to reposition. I liked that move very rarely when some monsters were in the air. You didn't use it for damage, but you used it for utility, and I think that's fine when you've got moves that exist more or less for utility, for repositioning, or for occasional attacks in the air. By making it get stronger over and over in the air, it encourages you to stay in the air as much as you can. And then finish it, of course, with the downward, whatever they call it. Is it the Dragon Strike? I want to call it Dragon Strike. I don't think that's what it is. Diving Wyvern? You know, it's interesting because in World, Diving Wyvern was so strong on its own. Why wouldn't you use it? But at the same time, it was a very high skill maneuver. Landing it, figuring out where you were going to end up hitting at the end, getting your bug to hit properly. And so I would almost rather any aerial literally just be focused around doing Diving Wyvern than the vaulting dance at all. But, you know, Reddit complained. So there you go, Reddit. Offset, obviously, beginning of the descending slash is cool. You know, I don't know how to. It's hard to say how to parse it, you know, because it's clear that they want to have more of a build up and then release play style in Wilds. And in World, you definitely had a situation where a lot of weapons almost felt pigeonholed into using one move. I don't think the solution to that is build up and then release. I feel like in a lot of the older games, you had a wide variety of the moves that felt good. You know, I would say Greatsword and Hammer in World are weapons where you're basically using the entire moveset the whole time. Obviously, if you're fighting a training pole, you want to get as many true charge slashes as you can on Greatsword, but you know, you can tackle into jumping wide slash to reposition a lot of the time, and that's fine. Orange felt pretty useless, you know? I mean, the issue is, and they didn't address it at all, is Insect Glaive feels borderline useless unless you have triple up. And so to buff triple up in something that you were already doing already, because why would you not have triple up? That seems a little strange to me. I hope that they make the descending slash either weaker or they do the thing where they buff everything around that. I mean, I think it's okay to use, you know, if anything, make it so that the longer you've had your extracts up in triple up, that you have like a 30-second window at the very end where descending slash does extra damage. Because what I was seeing a lot of, what even I did a lot of, is you get your triple up and then you immediately explode over the monster. You get back 2, sometimes, rarely 3 extracts, and you just do it again. And it's like, I don't want to use that weapon. I would almost rather be doing vaulting dance than just spamming descending slash all the time. That's just my opinion there, you know. I mean, my favorite Insect Glaive is one of my most used weapons. I just love the normal combo. You know, I recently, just this last year, have used the X finisher sometimes, which is like maybe the rarest move ever seen on Insect Glaive. Then obviously, you know, you've got your infinite and your tornado slash finishers. And I like that. You know, I enjoy that. I enjoy that aspect of the Insect Glaive. You can still play it like that, but it's just like the descending slash is just so strong in comparison. You feel like you're holding yourself back if you're not using it. Lance, to me, looks amazing. I personally found the charge counter very hard to land. Part of that was like visually and like orally, audio-wise. It felt difficult to know where you were in your combo chain between 1, 2, and 3. You know, first poke, second poke, third poke. And especially with focus, your normal poke and then your third poke were almost identical anyways. So it was always like, you know, you had to like almost like count in your head 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So your mental stack was constantly going up. So then you had to actually land the charge counter. I mean, it was probably, I think it was the highest skill ceiling weapon in the demo. If you're consistently like poking and then landing charge counters, you are probably one of the greatest Monster Hunter players in the world. But, you know, to give you the flexibility now to always charge counter or then to also use Power Guard, I think it's great. I mean, it'll be easier to use the weapon. I mean, the skill ceiling has gone down. Skill floor has gone down. You'll miss counter peak performance. Why do you miss it? How do you know whether it's in the game or not? The game's not even out yet. You don't even know. You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're missing. So that seems good. I think they really need to help differentiate the normal poke and the up poke, one way or the other. But at the very least, with counters, I think it'll work itself out, especially with that change. Switch Axe. I mean, it sounds like, let's look at the video.
I've got a video for this one too, so let's take a look.
Yeah, that you're almost so. Does he even release it? It almost looks like it auto-triggered, but there's no way. So normally you needed to pre-launch the attack, but it seems like if you just release it just as you're being hit, that works now. Yeah, I mean, to me, switch axe in sword mode now, it almost looks like a counter-based weapon. There's no way it's auto. That would be way too strong. I think it's just very generous. No way. No way. I agree. It looks like an auto trigger, but there's no way. There's no way. There's no way they have an auto counter in the game. On switch axe in sword mode. That would be insane. So what they were saying before is basically you have Rocksteady Mantle when you're doing your elemental discharge into full release slash.
Yeah.
It didn't need that. I had no issue with that. Now, personally, when I was playing Switch Axe, I thought it was fun. And I thought full release felt balanced relative to the normal moveset. My understanding is the people that did tons of speedruns with Switch Axe felt like all of the other moves were dumpster versus full release. And their entire playstyle revolved around doing as many full releases as possible. You know, without files, like good files, without element, who knows? And I'm sure they're tweaking everything anyways. I have hope that it'll be balanced overall. It's weak and you get chip damage. Oh, let's see if you take chip damage.
Bit of refined, cancel is never.
はい、
Switch axe, which apparently has been made much stronger.
I've got
You do take a little chip. You took chip there. Does he take chip here? Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking chip damage. It's not a lance. You know, it should be like a great sword when you're tackling.
Yeah, the changes to Switch Axe are looking really great.
so
I mean, sword and shield. I mean, we could look at the video. I don't know if there's anything to say here because we're not seeing any damage numbers. It looks cool. Any big lance updates? Oh, did I not show it? I talked about it. Yeah, we'll show the lance clip after this one. We'll go back to it. Hit stop very good on Perfect Rush right now. Buffing Perfect Rush damage? The monsters are so much more aggressive now, though. Let's play the clip. There's not much to say for Sword and Shield. Did they change the animation for Perfect Guard? Does that come out faster or is that the same speed? That chain right there is so much better. Yeah, and that empowered Power Guard is so strong.
And there we have
Yeah. It looks good. It looks really good. Bow. This is maybe the most important thing for multiplayer. Literally just this. I mean, they're adjusting the normal shot so that they're stronger. And then they're fixing the tracer shot from not insta-breaking all the wounds. That's so much better. I mean, you could still be a little fucker if you wanted. The chip damage was based on the switch axe counter?
ですね。
No, offset, you either get it or you don't. You know, you're probably just taking chip damage based on the damage of the hit the monster is doing. You know, lots of weapons get chip damage. I don't know that we need to go into the weeds about the weapons. There's more skills on weapons. Okay. That's a change. You know, they're trying to make it easier for you to be able to switch between classes. Not putting attack skills on armor for the most part. Like, attack up horn with an attack up song. Or like weakness exploit weapons. Like, how do you balance that? I don't know how you balance that. Unless they only put like weakness exploit on elemental weapons. I really don't know. Well, here's the thing. Like, armor is obviously going to have slots, right? Zay, apparently there is a toggle for true damage values. So, you know, you might make your mix of armor and then you put slots in. And that's how you get your extra damage in. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure attack up is going to be on decorations. I'm sure of it. I mean, that and weakness exploit and all those other things. I mean, hopefully weakness exploit's like a level 4, if that's even in the game. How much space for attack skills is there on a weapon? We have no idea.
A OBT reviews of what the
けれど、まあその
We don't know. I mean, this goes from having speed sharpening 1 to speed sharpening and crit eye. You can only put offensive decos on weapons and defensive decos on armor? I don't know. I guess we'll see. And also, we don't know whether or not Critical Eye will scale up, right? Because sometimes it might ramp. And even still, they might change it before release anyways. I don't know. If Critical Eye is in the game, that's already scary. You know? I would almost rather there just be no offensive skills and then just make it so it's worth just running elemental weapons or status weapons. But whatever. I mean, if it is true in critical, you could only put offensive decos on weapons, then you get crit eye 5, you're going to get attack 5 or whatever it is. What else? Hey, the rest of it was just going over Q&A, general Q&A. But wasn't there like, didn't Base World have some really screwed up curve for crit? Didn't it go like 3, 7, 10, and then it scaled up to 30? Wasn't it like 3, 7, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30? Something like that. So, I mean, I could see them doing something screwed up. It was a really good presentation. Like, they did it, like, they should all be very proud and happy. Even if Dakota flipped us off at least 3 times. At least 3 times. He did, man. We'll see. We don't know. I mean, again, we have no idea, you know, and even if we did know, they might change things up in the release. Whatever they change for what's going to be on the weapons, and then what decorations are going to be, and then what decorations get added at the very end. I forgot I was playing Soulstone Survivors. Should I try and finish the run? See how far I can go? What did you miss? Like 90 minutes of Takuda talking to everyone. Almost 90 minutes. It was really great. I mean, overall, I mean, if going forward, they have similar live streams 2 or 3 times a year for the next 2 years, that would be amazing. You know, it feels nice. Again, it's hard to say, like, you want them to listen to whatever your opinion is. And then they listen to other people's opinions and it's bad. But I would say for the most part, overwhelmingly, every choice they're making is good. Even the ones where it's like a little iffy, you're like, well, until you see the damage numbers, like no harm, no foul, you know? Hopefully they can balance the skills of the weapons properly. You know, it's a difficult thing because, like, if you go too hard with the balance, you get this sort of situation like in Rise for some reason. It's almost like the way it was tuned, his element is so good, it almost feels like element doesn't have an identity. But that might just be because there's so many fucking armor skills. You know what I mean? Like you've got so many things sprayed all over the place that you've got a stick that has a big elemental value on it. It's because, you know what it is? Is because it's the augment system. Is you take your weapon and like it's a good weapon. Like originally, like you get your Narwa weapon and it's like, yes, like this has like 80 or 90 points in element. Like this is so cool. Like this is a really strong one. And then you look at like, you know, maybe fire or ice in that same category. Like the max it goes is to like to 40. But then by the time you're done augmenting the weapon and putting on all your armor skills, your Narwa is at like 200 to 300, and then your fire is also at like 200 to 250. And you're like, well, who cares? You know, it's all that matters is what does it look like, which it doesn't even matter what it looks like because there's weapon layered. And then like, what are the particle effects off the weapon? And even then it's like, you get so, like, it's so normalized. Like so many of the hit zones felt like it's going to be between 45 and 60 on the head for raw. And then it's going to be 20 to 25% for element. And then here's Maldo. He's a little weird. It's only 15%. I don't know. It felt weird. It didn't feel like the other games. That's why you played Sticky. I feel like that's like the nihilist decision. I go Sticky as a revolt. I'm revolting against poor element. Well, you know, you make a great point. What the hell is this run? I'm on like round 5. You're blind. Welcome people waking up on the West Coast. Wake the fuck up. That looks good. I wonder how far we'll go. What's the farthest down you've gone, Ed, in this game? Farthest challenge level? Apparently it actually looks okay on YouTube. You stopped playing ages ago? That's okay. Grinding for soul stones is kind of ass. Doesn't seem like a game at this point. I actually have to work really hard, believe it or not. It's actually a real challenge. Well, I could say I'm very happy. I am sad about the lack of a beta, but it really makes sense. Like, it's close. Like, 2 months will be here before you know it. And we do get a Monster Hunter-like from Sony in January. We get Freedom Wars. like Wild's beta test performance mode. You know, I played in graphics mode, and I thought it played great. I want both of them. Freedom Wars? I've never played it. Ask Ed. He played it a bunch. You gotta rescue people from alien robots. PS5 graphics were bad in the beta? What are you guys comparing them to? I'm comparing them to the people that look like PlayStation 2 models on PC. I don't think we're gonna make it past this level, guys. Oh, shit. I don't know, maybe we do. From the entire presentation, Condor, at the very end, Takuda said if Ryozo were here, he could make the decision for sure if there would be another beta. He said at the time, we are not planning another beta. He said, even if we did release another beta, don't expect it to be different from the first beta. He said, at most, expect for there to be a benchmark tool on PC. Which I think that's fair. I don't know which team developed Freedom Wars. I actually have no clue. Who are the developers behind it? Dimps? I don't know who that is. That almost sounds like an insult. What else did they make? Who are you calling a dimp? I'll take a dimp on your head, man. Xenoverse 2. Oh, wow. That's fucked up. They made Xenoverse? So they made Freedom Wars, and then they've worked on Xenoverse 2 for the rest of their existence? They made Breakers? Holy shit. It was also made with Japan Studio? I see. Okay, I'm excited then. Reliance on AI frame gen. I'm hoping, and I think Capcom is hoping, that stuff will get better. I know that's no relief to somebody who's got an RTX 2060 or whatever, but... I will agree that we probably don't need ray tracing. Like, the graphics cards are just not there yet. And I know it's like a chicken and the egg sort of thing. And things have a lot of life. So that's what we're going to be playing for most of January anyways. I think our turret covers the entire map now. I think it covers the whole map. I don't think we need any more area. I think we got it. I think we got the whole area. We might be here for a while. Guys, we might be here for a while. Oh, we might die. They have 5 billion health. If we do 100 million DPS per second, what is that, 30 seconds? We gotta wait 30 seconds for them to die. We just died once. That was us dying. It is very unlikely that we're gonna make it through this floor. I'm sure there's some like mega cracked Soulstone survivor heads in chat right now that are like, you fucker, I get the floor 10 every night. Sorry, I'm not as good as you. How can I see anything? I mean, I can't. I can kind of like make out a little red circle on the ground sometimes. You want to see what the game looks like? All right, here. I'll show you what it actually looks like. I'll give you an idea of what the gameplay looks like behind the screen. That doesn't help much. I think it helps a little bit. I could like, all right, here's what we'll do. We'll go halfway. Okay, hold on. That doesn't help. That was only midway. You want to see Max? You can't see anything on Max. I mean, I can't see anything either, but... I think Max is more fun, too. Well, you know, actually, we're doing okay. Not gonna lie, I think we're doing okay. I'm still a little stuck on the comment about the literal one interview where somebody was asking him about AI companions and wound frequency. I want to know, I want to find that interview. Who's asking him that question? Who's bothered by it? I'd take a dimp on that interviewer. It just seems like a very weird situation. It's like you called them, and now you're going to complain about that what they're doing for you. In terms of the support hunters, like you're the one that said join me on this quest. Like you made the sandwich, like you gotta eat it. Very good comparison. Everybody asking the same questions. I mean, they could have been there in the interview and asking them about like why they. Well, I guess they did. He did eventually get asked the question about hit stop. That's the most important question. I would have liked to get his thought process on the build and then release playstyle. Because that is kind of different than what we're used to. I'm trying to think what other games are like that. I mean, in a way, GU is a little bit like that, right? You build up and then you release your Hunter arts. But I mean, I don't know. That's my own personal. Not even that I've ever made a Monster Hunter game. Not that I'll ever make a Monster Hunter game. But my design philosophy is, you went through all the work to make all those weapon animations. Like, give people a reason to use all those attacks. Like, if you look at Game of the Year 2020 Neo 2, in one of the expansions they added a skill. It might have been in Neo 1, I don't know. And it gave you a buff called Versatility. And basically what Versatility did is as you used unique abilities within sequential combos during the combo and then for a short period afterwards, you would just have buffed damage. So you were encouraged to create long, interesting combo chains. Not only because it looked cool, but because you would get like huge damage buffs along the way. Now, I don't know that Monster Hunter needs that specifically, but every part of the toolkit should be used. And it's a real issue, Juan Raider, because you could also just use fists, and fists have like one ability that's so fucking strong. You can just spam it the whole time. Ed in chat, by the way, I used to bully him because he would just build split staff, and he would use like an R1 square ability where you just like spun the split staff around. He just used the one ability. He would just walk up to things and just spin it around. He's like, this is my build. It's my build now. This is a different game. This is not Neo. We're almost dead again. That sounds boring. It's a waste of Neo, for sure, to use one active ability over and over again. But I can't bully him because when I used fists, I mean, fists are literally the weapon. But you know, that's why you get versatility, because versatility is like, okay, now you're encouraged to use everything. Neo 1 is crazy because there's like some armor set at the end game where you just throw rocks. Now you can use ninjutsu for your first playthrough. That's fine if it's strong. The only way to play Neo that you shouldn't play Neo, I don't even want to say it because it's a spoiler. And I don't want people to start doing it. They basically put like baby dev mode in the game with a build. Spire Doko? After this, if I'm going to stream tomorrow, I should go to sleep eventually. I'm waiting until I die. They have $37 billion. What does it look like? They are losing 100,000 health every 3 seconds? I'm just going to die, man. There's no way. Just kill me. Just kill me. How's Resler Ronin? It was fun, but it's not a good stream game because you're just fighting people, and people want to see monsters. Dude, look at that prestige. Holy shit. Speedrunners stuff they do is dirty? I'm not saying it's not dirty. But, I mean, if you're playing for the first time, are you going to do the same stuff? Unless you're looking up YouTube guides. It's always worth getting 20 points in ninjutsu and 20 points in magic anyways. After that, you can maybe level off it, but... Is there 6 more characters? We have some characters we can unlock. Right now, I want to spend my 69 points on this dwarf. You get buffs that apply to everyone, and that's what I want. So just by leveling him up all the way, we've just increased everybody's crit damage by 10%. That's nice. Demon Hunter looks pretty cool. I kind of want to just try the base weapon. If you use the debuff for multiple elements, that's the one thing that got kind of nerfed from Neo 1, but it's a good thing. Because you shouldn't be able to permanently lock guys like that. Early on, it's hard. I mean, it depends what you mean by early on. Are we talking about just like Way of the... What is the Way of the Samurai? I mean, honestly, the way most people are going to be playing Neo 2 is literally just Way of the Samurai. I think most people are not going to be going through Way of the Strong, or certainly not Way of the Neo. What is it? Way of the Strong, Way of the Wise, Way of the Neo? Like, most... I can't imagine it's more than, like, 5% of the people even do the New Game Plus. I think we just do these two. Those look pretty good. I should have an extra runic one. Oh, I can only use this one. Strong Demon Wise Neo. Nice. We want the reroll. Yeah, it really comes into its own at New Game Plus. But I mean, most people, I mean, won't even be. I mean, I've got a shame. I mean, I never beat Neo 1. But that's only because every time I play Neo 1, I'm just like, why am I playing this? I could play... I could be playing Neo 2. What is this skill? Chaotic. So Chaotic wants to match with... This is Chaos Frontal Magic Physical. There should be a rune for Chaos. Roll it twice. But I don't remember where it is. There it is, Controlled Chaos. Okay. Well, if that's the case... Fuck. You want a really good level 4 one, huh? Maybe not. Multicast is good. I might just do vulnerable target. I feel like that's fine. Bomb, maybe? Maybe we'll do the, we haven't done the Unholy Cathedral yet with this guy. Stream again later? That's the plan. I don't want to lie. I don't be like a liar. I was planning to stream again tomorrow. What time is it now? It's 11? Push through. Just turn this into that stream. Just make this a variety stream. Go back to Monster Hunter next week. I mean, we did get a little Monster Hunter today anyways. Why are these guys here already? I'm not even dealing damage. Where's all my levels? It's Rise. It's not like anybody's exactly begging for Rise. Actually, that's not true. There was somebody in chat earlier. I said some really mean things to them. I'm not going to apologize. They're like, you didn't change your category. I got angry at him. You want to beg for Rise? We want missiles. Okay. Wait, it doesn't matter. Because all of our skills get dumped at the end. Yeah, I tried Dwarven Lords because you said you liked it, and I don't know what it was about it. There were aspects of it that I liked. It felt like a very well done indie game. Maybe very well done is an exaggeration. It seemed like a indie game with some interesting ideas. I guess at the time I was playing it, the positioning didn't feel like it was important enough. But it might have promise later. That's what I mean. It's like, usually... So here, the fun part about Soulstone Survivors is like, from the very moment you have gotten your first choice of active abilities, like you're already making your build. You're already making a build that may or may not matter. And I like that. I like that you're constantly you know, making something and then getting rid of it. And Soulstone Survivors is good because you have so many choices. Vampire Survivors, it feels like just pick the whatever's broken. I don't know if that changes later on. From a pure mechanic standpoint, Hollow Cure is probably the best out of all of them. You know what I mean? That guy fucking... I mean, that guy gets it. That guy really gets it. It gets worse in Vampire Survivors. Like, you get even less build decisions that matter. I remember getting to a point where I had to grind to get golden eggs or something in Vampire Survivors, and I'm like, this is dumb. Like, I don't want to do this. I played Death Must Die. I did. I bought it when it was in such early access that there was only one map. Again, cool ideas, but like, not enough enemy variety. Look, if Soulstone Survivors has one weakness, it is literally twisting nipples the game. Dodge to get out of the red circles and then keep twisting the nipples, but like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's just like, it would be like if you're playing a first-person shooter and it was like, oh no, I don't want to shoot the guy in the head. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, you gotta do it. Yeah, probably the worst out of all of them, even though I did 100% it at one point, was Halls of Torment. Love the game, but it got very tedious towards the end, where you were basically always locked in for 30 minutes. Summons of Bloodlust are dumb in this game? Oh, I'm sure they're pretty good. I don't know if they've had to tune down summons at all. Thanks for streaming the wild stuff while you work. You're very welcome. I appreciate all the people at Capcom that streamed that stuff. Stuff was great. I mean, Halls of Torment had a lot of really interesting upgrades. So I was fine there. This game has a lot of interesting upgrades. If I had one complaint in this game, is a lot of time you can get different abilities, and definitely some of them synergize with each other, but sometimes it just feels like it doesn't matter. You're just shooting stuff all over the place. You're so strong. You pick anything, any 6 skills, and you're gonna be fine. It's obviously not true. You want to get synergies, but. And the decision of whether or not to make a buff build or not is always there. And how you apply your runes, and then what weapon you use. So you got a lot of choices. The biggest sin this game committed is that for literal years, it had a skill that said it gave you extra experience, and it did not give you extra experience. Because if you think about it, that would be really broken. Like, if you could get an XP upskill and it paid for itself in, like, you know, a couple levels, you would just take that every single time. So I think what they did is they nerfed it and they just didn't tell anyone. Can I change the color of the AoEs on the floor? No, I don't think so. Oh. Well, I don't know. Oh, I mean, everything that wasn't the combat itself, I loved in Death Must Die. And it wasn't even the combat that I minded. It was really just like, I felt like the enemy The waves just like, I think they were the same every time. Now 20 minutes till dawn was crap because I kept beating levels and it kept bugging out and not giving me unlocks, and I got really angry. So if I put on this ability here, Fog, where is it? If I put this on, it's gonna fuck it up. Get ready. Already died. I mean, we're still early on, but individual damage numbers go crazy. Deep Rock Galactic one, that is maybe the worst one I've ever played, but I only played the demo. Maybe the real game is better. But it's quite possibly the most boring Vampire Survivor-like game I've ever played. And I've played a lot of them. It's like, it's worse than Rogue Genesia, and that game was really bad. Sorry to the creator. If the creator's in my chat right now, I don't want to be a dick. Maybe you improved it. Maybe it's better now, but that game was ass. That game was really bad. Oh, I mean, the original Deep Rock Galactic is one of the best games ever created. There's no doubt. It was just like when you have like a level up every minute or two, and the level up is like I get +1 damage, or I get like 1% crit rate. Like that's just not like you're making the numbers up, game. Like you could have more fun with it. You could do better than 1%. This build is not very good, but at the same time, this guy doesn't have a lot of levels, so I'm not going to blame him. Maybe I just made a bad build. But it's not my fault, though. They took all my skills away. You don't even necessarily have to look at the red circles. You just kind of eventually kind of get the vibe down of how you should be dodging. I mean, I take that back. You should definitely be looking at the red circles, but... Man, you know, in a way, I'm glad I'm getting wiped because my stuff is terrible. Is it healing? Nope. He's got bleeding. He's got a little bit of bleeding on him. I feel like if you're going to be a good Vampire Survivor game, you gotta have... It's like you either need a dodge or an active ability. You need something to do other than twisting a single nipple. Can I re-roll these? I can. Ooh. My crit rate on? Crit chance is base 50%. I think we dropped the health. I'm gonna start with Storm. Well, I'll start with Void. Well, we're in it now. That's just what I mean. Like, Death Must Die, I just feel like the bosses didn't do enough. The armor system was cool. The active abilities were cool. Or whatever. The unique abilities on equipment was great. Even the dialogue was kind of charming. Like, I remember them talking and, like, kind of having interesting things to say. Doom build seems like it's going pretty good. One thing I haven't looked at in probably 2 years now is Bone Razor Minions, because I used to really like that game. That game was a lot of fun. Show off some Death Must Die, you'll stream it in the Discord? I would watch it. The game is called Bone Razor Minions, yeah. There's a game similar in this genre, Bone Razor Minions. I'm surprised we haven't had an event yet where they're going to talk about launch cosmetic DLC, Hunt Pass. Maybe they're saving that to just before launch. We want to save all of our rerolls and locks for the 4th cycle. Dude, I think Bone Razor was getting a manually crafted daily challenge run like every day by the developer. Like, I guess that's probably something he could bang out in like a, you know, one day on the weekend, but it just seems like a lot of work for one guy for one like $2 game. I'll start at 5 p.m. Central. I will be sleeping. I might just barely be waking up. I'll probably be sleeping. Although that's almost 5 p.m. Central. That's usually around the time when I start streaming, actually. I take that back. I usually start at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. 6 a.m. for my time. But today I might be sleeping. Trying to think about how many From Software pre-order bonuses / paid cosmetics exist. There's probably some. Is this my Return to Goblin Ark where my schedule falls apart? No, I mean, it's almost midnight. I mean, that's definitely late. This is the stream. we had actual Monster Hunter news, not Rise. I'll just sleep, wake up, shower, and then I'm just going to go to Waheen. I'm going to the beach tomorrow anyways. I just won't stream in the morning. I'll just go to the beach. That works out better for me anyways. Stream from the beach? I don't know if I'm actually going to go on the beach during the day. I don't have anyone to put suntan lotion on me. Nobody volunteer, by the way. Oh, we have sunscreen. I go, imagine me walking up to you on the beach. We're strangers, and I'm like, hey, can you get back there? Make sure you get in between the shoulder blades real well. I'll definitely go in the afternoon. Like, after 4, I'll go out. But I'm not going to go, like, peak sun, you know, get nuked. They say after 4 p.m. you're pretty safe. Got all next week off, too? That'll work. If it's your 6 p.m., it's my 6 a.m. If I'm awake over the weekend. No, your 5 p.m. is my 6 a.m. I feel like we're not going to be strong enough. I don't want to give up any more health. I'll just take a block. Okay. We are going to do... We're actually gonna... What? Bleed build? Let's start with the explosive trap. Didn't really get what I wanted, but that's okay. So this mode, you get... It's 4 cycles. Every time you go through a cycle, you lose all of your active abilities. And then I think you cannot pick those active abilities again. So what you really want to do is make sure that you pick synergies with a mind to have better synergies at the very end. Because the final round, you fight a special boss. I'm gonna banish Magnetic. Because what they were finding is people were... I mean, it makes sense. You go in, you make your build, and then you're pretty much done. This means you have to think about what you're building in relation to what you're going to build in the future, because you're not going to have a chance to use it again. It's actually very clever. The developers in this game, I think, are very clever. We are getting some very good skills, actually. Oh, I mean, there's base functionality that these type of games, some of them have and some of them don't. Like, even really simple things like, can you aim your shots? Is there a dash or a dodge? Is there any active ability whatsoever? It's very powerful. And then you get to the certain point where it's like, it doesn't even feel like a Vampire Survivor like anymore, sometimes. This is definitely a very good one. I still think technically Brotato is the best. Like, if you had to recommend just one single game of the genre, Brotato is just the best. But you will 100% Brotato weeks, if not months, before you 100% this game. At this point, this game is like almost an MMO level of grind to unlock everything. HoloCure because it's free? I mean, well, they're all cheap. I mean, almost all of them are like a couple bucks. But HoloCure, even for being free, is one of the best ones. It's either an upside or a downside. The only issue is whether or not you can get behind the VTubers or not. Yeah, Brotato has the ability to be way more balanced than this game is, because this game, like, at the end, like, you're just doing slop. It's just like complete slop, the game. This is gonna go fucking insane. We're gonna have at least 4 Chaos Golems with Bloodlust. Temtem Swarm? Haven't heard of it. Get out of the way. Bibu almost no hit Millennia. Congratulations to Bibu. He's dead. I think Temtem was just free on PlayStation, PS Plus or something. I like how one of my abilities is just like a Christmas present. How are we doing here? I think this build is actually kind of okay. Because, like, we're buffing things. We've got buffs, and we've got units that benefit from said buffs. Oh shit. Oh, we just took so much damage. I'm like sandbagging right now. I mean, Mylar Sound, if they can get the game running on the Series S at 60 FPS at 1080p, like, there's hope. Oh, I'm dying. Doesn't feel like we're getting a lot of healing crystals. Sorry, 30 FPS on Series S. I mean, he just, like, he shits. He's got, like, non-stop crap all around him. What am I even supposed to do here? My Eunice has just got to take care of him. Should go to bed. I'm going to go to bed soon, too. I just gotta let the summons do work. This will be better. This is way better. And this is a lot more in my wheelhouse. Cool. Oh, we're dying. Oh, we died. Oh. Well, it was my first time playing as him. We did get 40 levels. We can unlock his special ability. His special ability is uses the souls to bind demonic creatures. Okay. Okay, I'm going to sleep. I don't know if I'll stream tomorrow. Maybe not. Yeah, I'll just leave. I think I'm just going to leave. Have a good weekend, everyone. See ya on Sunday night. Goodbye.